The Cellcast is recorded in front of a live streaming audience.
Hello and welcome to another episode of The Cellcast. Joining me today is a man who, well, he just found this weird bird dragon egg thing. Welcome, Jacob.
Why, thank you, laddie.
My name's not Larry.
Laddie.
I like what you said.
Call me Americans. What's going on here?
Hi, Vasara.
Fly me to the moon, don't you, eh?
Continue with your introduction, please.
Yes. Aye, me and my bagpipes, go on. Let me I'm Scottish. Oh, yay. Snarf.
Oh, that's Alpha 5.
Yes, that's all 5. Wrong show.
Continue, please.
Why, thank you. Let me use a guest host, a guest, whatever you want to call it.
Whoa, you're supposed to introduce your regular
me
host.
first.
Oh, well, never mind. Anyways.
I'm glad for editing.
Oh, my gosh. Anyways, keep this in. This is funny. Anyway, why, thank you. Let me introduce my co-host, a man who, just ate way too many fish. Welcome, Drew.
I swear you must have hit your head on the way over here.
Well, there's that flight of stairs, and eventually you come down to them, you trip and fall, and
This is going to be a fun episode, I can tell already.
You
also, joining us today, even though the music's finished, is a man who can grow to the size of a 1,000-foot skyscraper. Welcome, Nathan.
Well, that's news to me.
Which is far higher than
Oh,
Ultraman
my gosh.
rose, but whatever.
all right. And let me use another friend of the show who is joining us tonight.
On his first appearance.
First appearance on the Cellcast. A man who just wants to get rid of those darn kaijus. Welcome, Jake.
What's up, everybody?
What's up?
Jacob and Jake. This is only going to be a little confusing.
No, of course not. One's wearing red. It looks like pink, but it's red. And Jake is wearing orange.
It's lightish red.
Which does a very great job of helping the audio listeners keep the Jacob and the Jacob heart.
Apparently, your listeners are on such a high level they can hear colors.
Yes, they can hear colors. It's high ultra definition.
What do they call that? Symphonasia? There's a fancy name for that, and I can't think of what it is. Where you can hear colors.
Yeah.
And smell something. I don't remember.
Yeah.
HD listening.
HD. There you go. Squint your ears. That was a phrase my brother would actually say when listening to music or whatever. It's like I squint my ears and I hear things. I'm like, okay.
So my hypersensitivity would go nuts and like, oh my gosh, you'd see me on the floor. Oh, I can't stand it anymore.
So as you can tell, folks, tonight's going to be a little crazy. Tonight we are reviewing Ultraman Rising, a Netflix film that required me for us to get at least some guys who know something about Ultraman, because I don't know as much as Jacob probably thinks I know.
What's going to be especially confusing for your listeners is that I'm technically not in kayfabe right now.
Yes, this is not MIFV Nate. This is regular Nate.
This is regular Nate, because I'm here repping my other show with. I'm pointing the wrong direction. This is going to be
that away.
I can make this even more confusing.
I'm even more confused. Anyway, I'm here repping Henshin Power V3 with my co-host Jacob. Jake, not Jacob. Jake.
Get right.
Jake. Anyway, Jake.
Snarf.
Yeah. So which is a Henshin Hero television podcast that we just launched last month with our friend Chris Reiner, who unfortunately could not join us tonight. But I tried to bring the whole crew.
I understand, and we appreciate who we were able to get on,
Yes, that'd be a very full screen.
and hopefully we'll get Chris next time.
Yeah.
So, why don't
You're
we-
planning on a next time?
Maybe.
You never know. There may be another animated Henshin Hero movie.
That's true.
Perhaps.
I'm sure there's got to be one somewhere.
Oh, they're probably.
Besides a
Oh,
certain,
they-
certain
they
one we already
exist.
know about.
This guy
Yeah.
probably knows.
We'll be
Yeah.
back for the sequel.
We'll be there for the sequel.
Well, they did leave room for a sequel at the end of this.
That is
For what I have heard, the plan is to do a trilogy.
Right.
I did.
Yeah, that's what I
I did do an MIFV kind of. I call it a special report. It was a live stream on MIFV for this. I actually had on Jeff Gomez, who runs Ultraman Connection, the
Nice.
the website, and I brought him on and we talked about the movie for about an hour, and and then I went on, finished the live stream, just going over my notes, finishing it all up. So
It was a very good episode too. So why don't we go ahead and jump into our spoiler-free thoughts on this?
Certified fresh and spoiler free.
So this is my second viewing. I, of course, watched this right after it came out and said, I need to get this on the Cellcast.
Of course.
Couldn't do it immediately because we were on vacation.
Yeah.
Because somebody
was out of town.
had to get married.
Yes.
I was gonna say I thought there was a marriage involved.
There
Yes.
was, but I was not involved in that. Thankfully. That
Yeah.
just
Not
sounded
bitter
weird.
at all.
I was the best man, so I at least
Yes,
helped.
he did a very good job.
So, I knew I had to get this on here as quick as I could, and I think this was literally the first thing put on the schedule for August. So, yeah, I really want to review this one. Jacob, what are
Yes.
your thoughts?
My,
I'm already messing up.
my spoiler-free thoughts, because there again, some people call me Jake and others call me Jacob. This is my first time watching Ultraman Rising. I'd heard about it when it first came out, and I kept thinking, it was like, wait a minute, I know Nate likes Ultraman. I know Drew knows a little bit of Ultraman. I'm a noob in this. And
I knew you'd be fine with this because after watching, I realized you don't really need to know Ultraman to enjoy it.
Yeah,
So,
exactly. Be like, it's one of those movies you can jump into, and it gives you enough context to understand what's going on. Not to the point where it's a movie that you watch and you have to watch like 3 other seasons to understand this thing at all. But on the contrary, with this, it was not simple to understand, but it was so fluid to understand what's going on, because they geared this movie to a broader audience. Because if they would have done something like, oh, you have to watch all of this other, Ultraman stuff, like I see all of Drew's somewhat of a collection. Like it's a
minor
huge collection.
it's a minor collection, if we're being honest.
Minor collection there, people.
Minor.
It's only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 seasons.
Yeah, only 7 seasons.
There's a lot more
Only
than that.
7 seasons.
There's a lot more
Only
than that.
7? Only 7, he says.
Yes.
I have them all.
I'm aware. That's why I said it was a small collection. I know I'm behind. I haven't even gotten one copy of all the English subtitled versions of Shin Ultraman yet.
Or rather, I should say, I have purchased all of the Mill Creek releases, aside from the little compilations that they've done where it's like, here's a bunch of episodes with this monster or whatever.
Yes.
Right.
Because I'm like, I already have those. I don't need to buy it again.
So yeah.
Right.
Yeah, so I thoroughly enjoyed the film, but like there was I was like, okay, this is a little bit weird, but once the movie starts getting into itself, you understand the lore, you understand what's going on. Be like, it's not simple dumbed down kind of film. It's a very intelligent film, but it's not one of those where, again, like you have to go and read a encyclopedia to figure out what's going on. So I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed this film, and I'm looking forward to getting into it and learn maybe a little bit more about this Ultraman stuff.
All right, which one of y'all two wants to go next for spoiler free?
I Other Jake.
You go first, Nate.
Oh, come on, man. I'm trying to be nice.
I'll go first.
Yeah.
This is my second time watching it. I watched it the first time on the way home from G-Fest and watched it again today.
You weren't
I think it
driving
was
when you were
really
watching
good.
it, did you?
No, unfortunately not. I was flying.
Unfortunately?
Unfortunately,
Whoa,
okay.
wait a minute. Multitasker there.
I used to do that in my car. I'd watch Godzilla 2000 while I was driving.
Oh, my gosh.
Ah,
But I
Get off
really
the
liked
road.
it. I think it had good action. It pulled out the heartstrings too. Certain scenes. The animation, I wasn't too big on it, but I looked past it and I enjoyed it for what it was.
This was my second viewing for it. I did watch it. It dropped on a Friday in the middle of June. I watched it that Saturday with my brother, who's an animation nut, and because I also knew I was going to be doing at least some coverage of it on the podcast. I wanted to make sure I saw it early.
right.
And and it's funny, Jacob, that you bring up that you don't have to know anything about Ultraman, because me knowing stuff about Ultraman might have been a little bit of a detriment, because I was sitting there at the beginning trying to figure out exactly how Ultraman is supposed to work in this, because I was a little
There is a little bit of
confused.
confusion there.
Yeah, I was a little confused about that, which is funny because I guess we can bring this up. I don't know if this is going to be part of your trivia or not, Drew, but
I can repeat if necessary.
okay, I was going to say the first. I mean, I just don't know if it's there or not. But the first cut of this was screened to some other filmmakers, including Guillermo del Toro, who is a massive Tokusatsu fan and loves Ultraman in particular. And he actually suggested that prologue at the beginning that tries to lay some of the groundwork, it was actually his idea to add that for the sake of not confusing the audiences. But I'm sitting there thinking, I was like, it needs some more details. But otherwise, I would say that, just like Jake said, that this is a very heartfelt film. It's not perfect. I do think it's a little overhyped. There were some early reviews and even some fans who were responding to it, trying to say that it's, best animated movie of the year. And I hesitate to call it that. I think that's a little overdoing it because it's not perfect. And we'll get into that.
Right. So why don't we go ahead and get into that?
Yes.
The following is a spoiler-filled review for the film Ultraman Rising. Listener discretion is advised. Ultraman Rising was written and directed by Shannon Tyndall, who also wrote the story for Kubo and the Two Strings.
Which I love.
Yeah,
I need to see that one. I need to see that one again.
Yeah, we've reviewed it, so go back and
we've
listen to
already reviewed it, so unfortunately we can't invite you on for that episode.
Yes.
That's fine.
I'm
just saying I need to watch it again.
Yeah.
Because it's fantastic.
It was also directed by John Aoshima, who also directed many episodes of season 1 of Gravity Falls. And it was also written by Mark Hames. Getting into the cast, we got Christopher Sean as Ken Sato and Ultraman. And the thing I saw that he was probably the most well known for is not anything I've watched. Days of Our Lives. He plays a character named Paul Narita in like over 300 episodes.
Wow.
Dang.
He's really soapy, though.
And that is the main thing apparently he's known for.
Oh, okay.
Well, that's soap opera. It's a soap opera. It's gonna
take up a lot of time.
That is true.
Kevin Conroy, who had the same thing back in the day.
That is true.
Before he got to be Batman.
A lot of actors went through soap operas.
Let's be honest. Comic books, superhero stuff, that's just soap operas with spandex.
That's true. It's like wrestling.
Or as people would say, soap operas.
Yeah, our WWE is like soap operas, but for guys.
Yeah, basically.
Anyway, Gede Watanabe played Professor Sato, a.k.a. Ultra Dad.
Ultra Dad.
And in the movie UHF, he played Kuni.
Dang, it's been too long since I've seen UHF. I don't remember who that is.
So, do you remember the Japanese guy that goes, "You're so stupid"?
That's him?
It's him.
I know that line.
I wish he had said that. Like, why didn't he get angry at Ken and just say, "You're so stupid"?
Yeah, I'll admit, when I saw he was in UHF, I had to look up which character he was because I was 9/10 certain it's got to be "You're so stupid." Okay, Tamlin Tomita played Mina and Emiko Sato. And she was Caroline Randa in Monarch Legacy of Monsters.
Oh.
The daughter's mother.
I'm so disappointed I didn't know that. I am very disappointed I didn't know that.
Keon Young played Dr. Onda. And in Star Wars Rebels, he played Commander Sato.
Oh.
Wait, he was a Sato in another project.
And in Star Wars
Ken
Rebels.
Sato, and he was
Commander Sato.
Commanders.
It was only in the first season of, I think of...
Star Wars?
No, of Rebels, because that was before they brought in... I'm losing geek points fast.
Darth Vader?
No, the blue-skinned guy. Thrawn.
Thrawn.
Yeah, before they brought in Admiral Thrawn as the villain. Sorry. Julia Harriman played Ami Wakita, the journalist. This is her first acting credit.
Really?
Everything else she did has been like what was it? I didn't write it down. I don't know why I didn't write it down, but it was basically she worked a lot on the sets, but she didn't have many of those credits either. Lee Shorten played Captain Aoshima, and he played Sergeant Yoshida in The Man in the High Castle.
Oh.
Lastly, Art Butler played Coach Shimura, and in Star Wars: The Clone Wars, he played Captain Akbar.
Captain Akbar.
Oh.
So it's a trap.
Yeah,
I was going to say.
Kingdom Hearts connections. Y'all want to guess how many we got?
2.
8.
You already looked this up, didn't you?
Who?
You.
Me?
Yeah.
That was a wild guess.
Because it is 2.
Oh, wow. I didn't even say anything. Bravo, Nate.
Yeah. Gede Watanabe, who played Professor Sato, was one of them. He is Ling in Kingdom Hearts 2. I'm guessing during the Mulan level.
Oh.
And Jonathan Groff was the voice of the rabbit in this, the little toy rabbit, a.k.a. Ollie. And
which is
archive audio
it's an
from.
Easter.
It's an archive audio from the actual show Lost Ollie.
Yeah.
He is more well known for playing Kristoff in Frozen.
Oh!
And he played that in Kingdom Hearts 3.
Oh, okay.
Oh, there you go. I was going to say the bunny is an Easter egg. There are a lot of Easter eggs in this. In this.
No kidding.
And that was one of the rare non-Ultraman ones because
or Sentai ones for that matter.
I'm trying to remember. I think it was the director worked on Lost Ollie.
Yeah, it was the director worked on Lost Ollie.
Yeah.
That was literally the show he was working on before he got to do this one, even though he'd been trying to do this one for a long time.
My virtual background died. Oh, well.
Oh,
It happens. Jacob, what do we got in info and stuff?
All right, so info and stuff. IMDb, it has a 6.9 out of 10. Rotten Tomatoes, couldn't find it anywhere. No, correction. I misread something. I apologize. IMDb has a 7.3 out of 10. Rotten Tomatoes, couldn't find anything. Where to watch it? No clue.
Netflix.
Production was Tsubure. I might be misread.
Subaraya. Why do you suck right now as a host? I'm just
which admittedly, I just realized I asked a question on the chat earlier today, then didn't put it in my notes because this is based on Ultraman by A.G. Subaraya, now owned by Subaraya Productions. Why did I not mention that by the writer?
I don't know why.
I'm an idiot. Continue.
Yeah, Subaraya Productions. It was distributed by, there again, I'm terrible with names, pronouncing names, so I apologize. Suchinko? I might be mispronouncing it. Its release date was August 7th, 2020. Are we doing another Ultraman movie?
Wait, whoa.
Yeah, so where are you going with this?
Whoa.
Are you playing PaulJPowers.com again?
Maybe.
Why don't you do the actual one?
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
That would explain why you didn't say Netflix earlier.
I'm trying to figure out what he's even talking about right now.
Some other Ultraman movie, it sounds
It's
like.
not Shin Ultraman. That was 2022.
Yeah.
No, it's not.
You just pulled a random Ultraman movie out of thin air.
Hold on.
What the heck Ultraman movie came out in 2020 in August? I'm so confused right now.
Yes. Anyways, let's get back to the real,
Give us the real info and stuff, please.
All right, so IMDb has a 6.9 out of 10. A little not as good as the other one, but okay. Rotten Tomatoes.
What was the other one?
It was 6.8.
The other one, 6.9. I'm sorry. It was Ultraman. Again, I'm terrible with names. Starts with a K.
K.
Pollo?
Now I'm about to look up Ultraman movies.
Yeah, as he goes around.
I don't think there was an Ultraman movie in 2020.
There was in 2020.
Somewhere. Keep talking. I'm going to find it.
Anyways, you can wait on Netflix. Production was Netflix Animation. How do you pronounce that name again?
Subaraya.
Subaraya.
And ILM.
Yes, an ILM. You're still in my thunder, Nate.
Well, I was just, in case you forgot, I'm racking my brain right now. I'm sorry.
I like to throw people off. Thank you very much.
If you're talking about an Ultraman movie that came out in 2020, there was Ultraman Taiga, the movie New Generation Climax.
That's it.
Okay, there's no K in that.
I'm sorry, there wasn't a K. Anyways. Really, distributed by Netflix. Release date June 12th, 2014 at
24.
24. You know what I mean.
I know. I'm just letting everyone else know. I know you have a reading disorder.
Yes, I'm aware. I think everybody at this point knows, but like Jim can't read. Like reading out loud is not the greatest thing for this dude.
It's okay. It's okay. You're less Dixie. We forgive you.
I feel you. I'm fine.
Oh gosh, I'm going too vain there. Come on. Anyways,
is your color timer going off? Okay.
Yes, it's going red. I'm going red as my shirt.
Okay, because apparently color timers in this are mood rings. That's what
Apparently.
That's very true.
They're not exactly keeping time anymore.
No.
I was gonna say they call it a color timer, but it responds to stress. Then it's not a color timer. It's a color mood reader or something.
All right, so the movie was first previewed on June 12th, 2024 at the Ania Festival, and then June 24th or 14th, sorry, of 2024 worldwide. It had a runtime of 117 minutes. Box office, obviously there's no box office. But spinning right into that, in October 2023, sorry, I got stuck. Tally shared via Twitter for the first images of Ultraman in the film's official title, Ultraman Rising, teasing an announcement for Geek Week 2023 in November of that same year. The film's voice cast and first trailer were unveiled during Geek Week 2023. Target for a 2024 release on Netflix. Ultraman Rising premiered at the, as I said before, Ani International Animated Film Festival in June 12, 2024, following its world release on Netflix on 2 days later on the 14th of 2024. And that is all I have for info stuff, for real.
All right.
Okay, I can tell you that the weekend that it premiered on Netflix, it did get a very limited theatrical run because the studio was very confident that they could get it nominated for awards.
And it does have to be in a theater for a amount of time to qualify for the Academy Awards.
Yes.
Yeah. So,
which is why Netflix and Amazon both own theaters now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Which is scary.
And depending on what you go over, Drew, I can offer a little bit of background on the movie.
Fair enough. But
thanks
first,
to the research I did for MIFV.
Right. But first, the summary. Professional baseball player Ken Sato returns home to Japan despite being on the verge of winning a championship in America. Reporter Amy Wakita attributes his sudden departure to rumors of unfinished family business, but in reality it is to fight kaiju as the giant superhero Ultraman, a mantle he reluctantly accepts from his father, Professor Sato. After a battle with the monster Naranga, Ken feels underappreciated after complaints from citizens and vents that he never wanted to be Ultraman while reminiscing about his mother Emiko, who was recently gone missing. Dr. Onda, the chief officer of the Kaiju Defense Force, or KDF, who harbors a grudge against Ultraman and Kaiju, monitors a transport team delivering a secret package. However, they are pursued by a bird-like kaiju, Gigantron, and Ken is forced to leave a game to fight it. Gigantron loses consciousness on top of the package, which is revealed to be an egg that soon hatches into an infant Gigantron, forcing Ultraman to take her from him before the KDF kills her. As the baby imprints on him as her parent, Ken reluctantly raises her with the help of his AI assistant Mina, naming her Emmy he didn't name her Emmy, after his mother and becoming attached to her over time. Unwilling to accept his father's help due to their estranged relationship, Ken struggles with his career and parental duties. He reaches out to Amy, a parent herself, to ask her how she deals with parenthood, and she tells him that despite the struggles, it can be rewarding. One night, Ken drops out of an interview with Amy after Emmy escapes into Tokyo, and Onda demands that he hand her over. However, he refuses and accidentally injures Emmy's shoulder while trying to save her. He takes Emmy home and finally contacts his father to help, who heals her and aids him in raising her. Onda reveals that the KDF's Onda reveals to the KDF's captain his plan to use Emmy's echolocation to find the undiscovered Kaiju Island and destroy all Kaiju, which he justifies as a means to an end to protect humanity after his family was killed in a Kaiju Ultraman incident. At a family cabin, Ken and Sato reconcile their relationship now that Ken understands the struggle of being a parent and Ultraman. However, Emmy enters a pupil stage as the KDF find and attack them, injuring Sato. At home, Ken places him in a healing tube as Emmy hatches from her cocoon, having grown wings. She hears the call of her birth mother across Tokyo Bay and flies toward her. Soon after the KDF attacks Ken's home, destroying Mina and causing Sato's tube to disappear into the sea, Ultraman tracks down Emmy to the middle of the bay, where they encounter a mechanized Gigantron, or Mecha Gigantron. He attacks it, but stops after noticing flesh beneath the metal and realizing that it is not a machine, but the original transformed into a cyborg. Ultraman exceeds his energy limit and reverts to Ken, but is saved by Sato, who returns in his Ultra form, Ultra Dad. Emmy manages to break the KDF's control over Gigantron as Onda transforms a KDF craft into a giant mecha and battles Ultraman, Ultra Dad, and the Kaiju, blaming the Ultra Dad for the death of his family. Onda is defeated, but triggers a self-destruct sequence that kills him as Ultraman forms a barrier to prevent further damage. Later, Amy finally interviews Ken, who survived despite his shoulder being injured, and notes that he has matured greatly recently, which he attributes to his family. He shares a voicemail from his mother expressing her hope that he will reconcile with his father and that their decisions as parents come from a place of love to prepare him for life. Later, Ken and Sato manage to find the Kaiju Island with the help of Emmy and Gigantron. In the mid-credits scene, Emiko contacts Ken for help, revealing that now she is stuck on Ultraman's home planet in Nebula M78. Getting into the trivia for this one, this movie was not originally planned to be an Ultraman movie. Conceived in around 2001 by Shannon Tyndall under the working title Made in Japan, it was made as a general tribute to tokusatsu, superheroes, and monsters, with pretty much the same story as the finished film. In the first pitch, the hero, Gamma Man, was normal-sized and was more Super Sentai or Power Rangers-like than Ultraman, and the baby monster Emmy had a slightly different design. It was first pitched to Cartoon Network, which turned it down. In the second pitch, done 14 years later, Gamma Man finally resembled an Ultraman-style superhero, and Emmy's final design set in later. Gamma Man finally... Tyndall pitched it to Netflix, which asked him if he was interested in making this project as an actual Ultraman movie. A fan of the franchise, Tyndall was very interested in this prospect, and he and his team retooled it into an official Ultraman movie after seeing the production designs, including Sunmin In's illustration of Ultraman cradling Emmy in his hands over the ocean. Super Rad Productions, the creators of the Ultraman franchise, gave the project their approval because it showed Ultraman as a nurturing character. This movie is the directorial debut of both Shannon Tyndall and John Aoshima. This is the first animated feature that used DreamWorks open source rendering software Moonray without the involvement of said company. ILM, Industrial Light and Magic, is the first studio to use it. Lastly, the toy bunny that used to belong to Kenji is the title character of the Netflix miniseries Lost Ollie, which was also directed by Shannon Tyndall. Anything to add, Nate?
I know you covered what I think is the most important stuff. If anyone would like to know a little bit more details, go listen to, I think it's Special Report number 7, which I did back in June for the Film Vault. It's on both the MIFE YouTube channel as a video. It was a live stream originally, and you can hear it on the feed, because I went into some more detail about the production history and a bit about the composer and things like that.
Right. Last thing I got, listener comments, because I did post a question to our Facebook page for people to tell what they thought of the movie. And we had Stephanie Russell, aka Artsy Steph, who was on our Labyrinth episode, say, "I love Emmy. She's amazing." Now, specifically, she spelled Emmy with about 7 I's. Emmy! So, I love Emmy!
Thanks, Steph.
Yeah, thanks, Steph. Who wants to go first with likes?
Oh, wait, do we want to explain what we're doing for that tonight?
Oh, I guess, we should. Because we know at least 3 of us have a tendency to know not how to shut up. While we are doing 2 likes and 2 dislikes apiece, we're limiting us to 3 minutes each.
Yeah.
Just like Ultraman.
Yeah, for each like and dislike. So,
Yep.
Yeah,
just like Ultraman.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because in the original show from the 60s, he could only be Ultraman for 3 minutes, and when he starts getting close to that, then the color timer on his chest starts going off, and I'm sure it's really just TV time, because
I was about to say, I'm sure it did wonders for the special effects budget.
Well, that's a big reason why they did it, but it's also in what?
The dog is back.
You heard the dog. The dog
I was
there.
going to tell we got it again.
To explain to Jake, be like, I have Tourette's disorder and I bark like a dog. So that's what you heard. If you blow it,
it took 5 years for us for Drew to get it on.
I think it was
there.
4
and it was
years
on
because it was last year.
Show.
It was last year on that, and then he did it a week later, and this is the only time he's done it since then.
Yeah.
Wow. Anyway,
the dog kind of keeps calm a little bit here and there.
Apparently, the dog is excited about Emmy. But anyway,
wow.
Oh, she is cute.
Yeah. But anyway, also on Henshin Power V3, we have a 3-minute discussion limit for each episode of a television show that we talk about, which is why we can burn through about 10 episodes per podcast episode. So once someone decides to go first, I hit the button and we go, because I have a timer button.
And I will be nice enough to that if the timer goes off while you're mid-sentence, you can finish your sentence.
Yes.
I'll be that nice.
Just no run-on sentences.
Yes. No acting like Paul from the Bible, who wouldn't know a period if it bit him on the butt.
Yes.
And yes, I know Greek didn't have punctuation. Sue me.
Anyway, who's going first?
That's my question.
You're the host. You pick.
Apparently, I'm going first because Jacob is pointing at me. So yeah, I'll go first.
Shit.
So yeah, the first thing I really like about this is the design language of this film. The biggest moment I think points this out is when Emmy hatches in Ultraman's arms and the fog in the background dissipates.
Oh yeah.
Only for when the camera turns, when he hears the KDF coming up behind him, the fog is back. So and there's a lot of other cool little things in there, such as the I only know the effect is the Ultra Q swirls, because that's where
because
they
that's where it
originated
started,
from.
but it was it was used in most of the Showa era. Ultra
But I love how
series.
they use that as Ultraman's angry now, so now we're gonna show that.
Yeah. I've heard some people compare the animation style in this to Spider-Verse.
It is very similar to Spider-Verse. Unlike Spider-Verse, which used very comic booky imagery, this is a little more psychedelic. What it reminds me most of is Disney's last season of Power Rangers when they tried to redo Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. And
No, that wasn't Disney.
Better than what they did.
No. That wasn't Disney. That was after Daddy Saban bought it back.
I remember it airing on ABC Family.
Well, then that must have been a holdover or something because Disney was done after RPM. They wanted to be done after Jungle Fury.
Either way, you know what I'm referring to, the remaster of MMPR, which never should have been done.
Oh my gosh, the comic version.
That never should have been done.
Like
I said, it's the closest thing it reminds me of.
I was just saying, real brief, they didn't go as all in with all of the comic book enhancements as they should have done. If they're going to do it, they should have really embraced it. But anyway, they didn't do it enough.
Like I said, I really loved all of the visual language because it was just done so well. That's the alarm.
Nope, you have 1 minute.
Oh, I have 1 minute. Cool.
A 1 minute warning. When Ultraman flies away, then you're done.
Right. So yeah, I just loved how visually fun it was and how it echoed the emotions of the characters on screen with the background animation. So yeah, that is my first like of this film.
You had like 30 seconds left, but congratulations.
Hey, okay. I always beat the timer on Henshin Men.
Oh, we did timer on Henshin Men.
Yeah, the 1 minute.
Minute to Henshin.
Minute to Henshin at the end. I always beat that.
Yeah.
Who's
okay,
next?
which Jake is going next?
Yeah, which Jake? Apparently, Hambrick.
Down below.
Hambrick. All right, you ready, man? You're well practiced with this. Go.
Shoot. So, probably my first like is the color timer not being there, except for showing the mood. That's one thing that I don't really care for in Ultraman is you only have 3 minutes to be Ultraman. So
I got you for 3 minutes.
Yeah.
3 minutes of playtime.
So I think it's better to just have it, more as a mood, and the more
it makes more
he exerts himself, he loses power.
Yeah,
but
I can't tell you, Jake, that because I haven't seen a whole of the franchise, but I've seen a big chunk of it. There aren't as many Ultramen who have the time limit as people think.
Yeah, I know not all of them do. I know the Netflix Ultraman anime, they didn't have it.
Well, that's really different. They're guys in power suits as opposed to actual superpowered beings. But typically, it was a color timer originally, but in a lot of other Ultraman shows, it's to indicate his strength or energy level. And if it's running, then it starts going.
Which makes sense more in general. So
it does. So that was my first one.
And why can't I hear anybody?
Can you not hear us?
Hello?
Can you hear me now? Nate, can you hear me?
Can you hear us now?
Keep talking, but I can't hear anybody right now.
Hola, ¿cómo está?
Hola, my name's Dora.
Oh gosh, no.
Can you say podcast? Can you say a la basura?
Oh my gosh, let me tell these people. Sorry, we heard that.
Yeah, we can hear him. That's not the problem.
Yeah,
he can't hear us apparently.
I can't even talk.
I wonder if he accidentally pulled his headphones out.
That might be it. Headphones, maybe.
Okay.
All right, Nate.
All right.
Or Jacob.
I'll go. It's fine. All right. So So to quote a fellow listener who's also been on the show, Stephanie, Artsy Steph, it was Emmy. Oh my gosh, I love this character to death. It was so funny. It's be like, you get this egg. Who's in the egg? It's okay. It's got to be a kaiju. Be like, oh, it's a pink kaiju, and she's cute. Which I don't be like, oh, good night. But it's such a funny relief when you have a childlike character who is the size of a 10-story building, a house, and it's just like you get this very. Words fail me at this moment. It's you have the Emmy trying to understand the difference between Ken and Ultraman. That was hilarious, and it was more this Emmy understanding how Ken is and their relationship with each other, and it was the growing pains of being a parent and his the exhaustion and everything he had to go through to take care of her.
Are you thinking of object permanence?
I'm not exactly
because she had to learn whether or not that he was actually Ultraman. They look like two different people.
Yeah.
Because object permanence is a thing with infants. That's why they like peekaboo, because in their little infant brains, if they can't see it, they don't think it exists anymore.
True. Yeah. Okay, that makes sense.
They don't understand the idea of object permanence. That's why when you play peekaboo with them, you cover your face and you go and then you're there. That's why they get excited, because they think
that makes sense. Mm-hmm. That makes sense because there are some studies where it's like people who are adults who really don't get that with objectivity. So it was more this be like you have this character who is learning about her father figure in Ken or Ultraman, and his responsibility of her, and just the idea of like this giant pink cute kaiju who is on the side of good, and they're training her to become this kaiju that fights other kaiju. And I found that incredibly enduring, incredibly cute for a cute, not fluffy, but very scaly dragon type kaiju character who turns into a flying kaiju, which I found very cute. So yes, Emmy all the way.
Yeah, what's interesting? I'm gonna die. What's interesting is this actually isn't the first time.
So cool.
I was about to say Anya or Emmy to make you pick.
Yeah.
But I was just gonna say this is actually not the first time this has happened. There's an episode of Ultraman 80 that's actually pretty similar to this in terms of story.
Mm-hmm.
And we got to the end of that 3 minutes, so we must move on. Nate?
But I will say that Ultraman 80 episode goes a much darker route. Well, I'll say that much.
The baby dies, I'm guessing.
Something like that. Actually, yes, spoiler warning. Anyway,
It'll be a long time till I get there, so I'm not worried.
For a 40-year-old film.
Show.
It's a show. Anyway, my first is this movie is full of heart. That is its greatest strength.
Agreed.
Is just how much heart it has, which I think is the big thing that has been winning people over when they watch this. In fact, it's so full of heart that people have overlooked its imperfections. I think that's why people are trying to label this at least one of, if not apparently the best. But I'm like, a week later, Inside Out 2 came out, guys. But best animated film of the year. So I can't fault it for that. It's very successful at that. What you were talking about with Emmy and Ken, that is the best part of this movie is him dealing with all of that, because it forces Ken to grow up, because he's kind of a man-child.
He is.
Let's be honest. And
he's so full of himself.
Yeah, which is also pretty atypical for Ultra hosts. That's what they call the humans who are Ultraman. Yeah. They're typically not characterized like this, and
So they're more narcissistic. They're more about themselves and the glory and the fame of their own.
No, they're not typically like
that.
They're
usually good guys.
They're not typically like that.
Oh, okay. I was thinking like in the beginning they would be.
Yeah, they're not necessarily perfect, but they are not like they're not like this.
Oh, okay.
Well, technically, he's not a normal host because he's a son of an Ultraman, so he's got the Ultra gene in him. I guess.
Yeah, which is why
it's one of the questions I have for a sequel.
How
exactly is this working?
Yeah, it's kind of weird because if that was one of the questions I had, because I'm willing to believe that, you know, if his dad is Ultraman, that he could just inherit it, which is not unlike the Netflix anime / the manga that it's based on, where that's basically the idea.
Yeah,
but you know but that still doesn't really get explained in this, so I'm not sure what to do with it. But regardless, the heart of this movie is, you know, what really makes it work the best.
Right.
So I'm gonna end it there.
Well, I guess that means it's my turn again. So yeah, my second like was going to be Emmy, but I will turn this around in more like I like how this is a superhero movie that doesn't fall into the trap nearly every superhero movie since Endgame, if not before that, has fallen into, and that's just being this special effects fight heavy stuff with a paper thin story.
Agreed.
I like that we actually have a decent story, that it's more about a guy who, because he's a superhero, gets into a mundane situation but with a supernatural creature and has to deal with that and then still be a superhero at the same time. I like how the characters are the focus here and not some half-baked plot that doesn't entirely work. Marvel. I didn't mean to say any particular names, but yeah, let's face it, they've lost a lot of goodwill. But they've had some good movies in there too. Anyway, I just enjoy that this doesn't feel like it has to, like, it doesn't feel like they're trying to be discourteous to the Ultraman lore. At the same time, they're not forcing it down people's throats so that they're not getting it. I just like it's a good movie first and a kind of a superhero movie second, I guess is really how I'm trying to put it, because even the characters who are the villains I kind of like, even if I don't agree, like with the leader of the KDF, I don't agree with his choice of why he's trying to do all this stuff. I understand it, and I kind of I have a he's a good villain. And I know last week on the Balto episode, I talked about how I liked how Steel was a villain for villain's sake, because we don't get that a lot. I like how on the other side we've got this general who is a villain with actually a decent reason, but still doesn't back down. Is not begging for a redemption arc. He's just doing what he feels is the right thing to do, even though he kind of also knows it maybe isn't the right thing to do, because he's got to get vengeance for the death of his family. So I just like that this is a good movie first and a superhero movie second.
Now, what you're talking about actually reminds me of what Brad Bird said about The Incredibles, where his goal was to take, combine the extraordinary and the ordinary.
Yeah. That makes sense.
At different moments throughout. So,
yeah.
Might as well just let it run out.
Yeah, it's almost done.
Almost.
It sounds like it's going to explode at any minute.
My head's gonna blow!
Yeah, fun fact, there was an Ultraman podcast that I did a similar gimmick, and they did the color timer thing, and then it would end with an explosion. But I decided to be different and to not just shock everybody's system every 3 minutes, to just have Ultraman flying away.
It's cooler.
Right.
Yeah, agreed.
Jake, what's your second like?
Henshin.
Probably the fact that it's focused on like pro fatherhood. It came out the weekend of Father's Day, and
And that was by design.
Yeah, it was. And I really like it the way that just about every boy is a mama's boy. And he lost his mom and he's mad at his dad and they had to come back together, find each other. So yeah, pretty much the fatherhood aspect of it is what I really liked.
Yeah, I think people underestimate the value of fatherhood stories anymore.
Agreed.
Yeah.
And I think the fact that you had this and I had a friend who, it's my friend Daniel DeMann of the Godzilla Novelization Project, who made the observation that in the last year we've had 3 high-profile kaiju releases, and as different as all of them are, minus one, Godzilla Cross Kong: The New Empire, and this, as different as they all are, they have one thing in common, and that's found family. Often, a big part of that is fatherhood.
Even Monarch, kind of.
Yeah, even Monarch. Yeah,
in many ways.
It does something. It does something kind of similar. So it's just interesting, and I think it's a testament to how desperately people are looking for something like that.
Right.
We need more good fathers in the world.
We do.
Indeed.
Amen to that.
But that's all I got.
All right,
Jacob.
Excellent. All right, so let me get to my notes because I get distracted so easily. All right,
So your timer's going.
I heard that. All right, so I want to call you Ken, but you're not Ken. Nate. Someone mentioned Ken, and I was like, "Oh, Ken." No, it's Nate.
Ken G. Anyway, so if Nate is Ken, does that make Jake Ryu?
Anyways, my time's gonna run out real fast. All right, so you mentioned Nate that like Ken's personal growth. Ken's personal growth in this movie, like he starts off this very bratty, very self-absorbed kind of character, and it's all about him. And it stumbles into his life that be like first he has to be Ultraman. He resents this. He wants to be a normal guy. He wants to go play baseball. He wants to be about himself, and then he stumbles into Emmy. There we go. And like you have this transformation of who he is from this man who can grow into a 100-foot giant to becoming a man of honor to where he sacrifices everything in order to take care of this 10-story kaiju baby who he finds be like he winds himself falling in love with her and becoming her father. And it's like again it's a coming of age story for Ken as a young man into a man. And I do agree with you, Jake, that they're in this day of age you're missing a lot of father children time kind of movies where you get this more of a spotlight on a father and the good attributes of a father. And it's heartwarming. It's a breath of fresh air to see something like that, and that's the very appeal, the draw to this film, because it has a lot of heart. And you have this character who goes through this metamorphosis, as you will, to become a better man and a better Ultraman. So yeah, the Ken's personal growth from Ultraman and being a father. So I thought that
which is why one of my favorite moments in the movie is the father-son specium beam at the end. That was unique. I've seen a lot of Ultraman, and I have never seen a thing where 2 Ultramen have to use each of them use an arm to do a specium beam. That was unique.
Yeah. Okay, that's what that's called. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's called a specium beam. Yeah, that's the traditional Ultraman finishing move.
Yeah.
They basically every Ultraman has a variation on it in some form or another, but I've never seen 2 of them do it together. And fun fact, Eiji Tsuburaya was a rare Japanese Catholic, and the reason why the pose for the specimen beam looks like this is because it's supposed to look like a cross.
Oh, that makes sense.
Now some Ultramen do it like in the shape of an L, and and some of them I've seen some weird variations on it. Who is that? I think it's Leo. He goes like this. He puts a hand on top of his fist, so it looks like an upside down L. It's weird, but yeah, generally it's a cross.
Right.
Nice.
All right, Nate, your last like.
Henshin. Good Lord, the Easter eggs. There are so many Easter eggs in this.
There are.
Yes.
And what I like about it is that they're not intrusive. It's not it's not like they're dangling keys in front of you and be like, look at the Easter egg, look at the Easter egg. No, it's more like if you're eagle-eyed, you'll see them. A lot of them are Ultra 7. I don't know what it is. The people who worked on this movie really love Ultra 7. But because the license plate on the car and the scene where Ultra Dad shows up to talk to Ken, that was a reference to Ultra 7. There's some the uniforms that the KDF wear; those were inspired by the Ultra Guard from Ultra 7. But not all of the Easter eggs. It's mostly Ultraman. There's a little bit of Super Sentai in there, but one that
you got the Dino Thunder Megazord in there.
Yeah, the Dino Thunder Megazord is in it. Yeah, it's in the background. It's in the background.
Yeah, there's like 3 of them.
Oh, no. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, but one that was incredibly obvious, but I am disappointed that me, of all people, did not notice this. It had to be pointed out to me. And then when I saw this the second time, I was like, how the heck did I miss this? And it's not an Ultraman Easter egg. It's not a Sentai Easter egg. It's a Godzilla Easter egg.
Roar.
Oh.
Emmy does the Shay dance.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Several times.
From Invasion of the Astro Monster.
Yeah, Monster Zero, the little.
Yeah.
She does
the victory
that.
dance.
I was like, how? How did I not see that?
I'd say I caught that the first time.
I was very disappointed with
lost
myself.
a nerd credit for that.
I think
like,
I might have. I also need to turn in a little bit of nerd cred because I thought the little kid show that she was watching, I thought that was just something that was made up because like, oh yeah, those are some of the cute monsters that show up in Ultraman. There's Pigmon and that's cute. I found that that's a real show. I was like, oh, it's some random little kids Japan only show. But
admittedly, I looked at it and thought, oh, they're watching the Teletubbies.
Yeah, but I found that that's actually a real show. Like they used a clip from an actual show.
That's cool.
And threw it in there. Like, okay.
What is it called? Yeah. Ultra Kids?
I don't know. No, Ultra Kids was I
just made up a name.
No, there is actually a show called Ultra Kids.
Surprise!
It was an early '90s little kid adventure anime.
Huh.
Yeah.
I have it. I've seen it. It's remarkably good. You wouldn't think it would be, but it is. But yeah, this movie does Easter eggs right.
And that brings us to our dislikes, which I have a suspicion we'll never even get to hear the color timer on some of these because I just have a suspicion we don't have many. And it won't take us long to discuss them.
I've got one.
I've got some.
Well, I will go ahead and do my first one.
Henshin.
I wish we got more time with the baseball team. Because really, once Emmy shows up, they're relegated to showing up only in the montages.
So they're
for the most part.
They're in the bar field?
They're in the outfield.
Bump.
But I just wish they were able to use that more as part of the story. Like I can imagine some point where maybe Kenji is waiting for his time at bat, and someone else the person before him is going up there, but he's dead tired because he's been taking care of Emmy. And someone razzes him for a bit, and he says something. Really, in his mind, he's talking to Emmy, but he tells this guy to have maybe some suggestion that it happened to work for him. It's like, oh, I could actually help other people. Maybe that triggers something. I just wish we got more of that because it just feels like we bring up this plot point that he's on a baseball team.
Yeah.
And then he's like not really there on the baseball team for most of the movie once Emmy shows up. Now, granted, I can see how that may have made the story a little bit too big, but I just wish they were able to work that more into the plot more.
Right.
Yeah. I do like that one part where he was about to go up to bat and he handed one of his teammates a signed card. He said, "This will be worth a lot on eBay."
Yeah, here
That
you
was
go,
hilarious.
rookie.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, I'm already famous already. There you go.
That reminds me of Johnny Cage's fatality in Mortal Kombat.
Yes!
He gives away a signed autograph and that somehow causes the other guy to blow up.
Well, actually, I think it's only in Marvel vs. Capcom 2, but it's a Street Fighter character who does this. Dan Hibiki, who was created as a joke, who was created as a joke character. And he was intentionally made to suck as he was making fun of SNK and their characters. And he has a special move in Marvel vs. Capcom 2 where he will sign an autograph, hold it up, and then throw it like a frisbee at the opponent. It does almost no damage, but
of course it doesn't.
You can throw an autograph at somebody.
It's like when you find out that Hercule is in a bunch of Dragon Ball Z fighting games, but he loses very quickly. Instead of flying, he's got a jetpack.
Which is funny.
It is funny.
Yes.
Okay, we ending early?
Yeah, we're ending there. I've got mine out.
All right.
Jake, what's yours?
Oh, it's mine? Or is that Jake?
Jake. You're Jacob.
Oh, okay. Jake.
I'm
okay.
going in the
Handbrake.
order we went in before.
All right.
So, yeah, Jake is next.
All right.
All right.
Go, Handbrake.
Go for it, Jake.
Probably my biggest dislike, and I think one of my only ones, is the animation style of the people.
Thank you.
Everything else I loved, except for the way the people looked.
Really? Ultraman shaped like a Dorito.
Yeah.
They do very much have a bit of that, for lack of a better term, that Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle film that came out, Mutant Mayhem, that kind of chewed up gum art style to them.
Right.
It's very angular.
It looks too Pixar-y to me.
Oh.
I was thinking it was looked too different. Anyway,
Ultraman has nothing but shoulders and chest. He has no waist. He's just like,
yeah.
He looks like a baseball bat.
He literally looks like a baseball bat.
Actually, if that was the intention, I might forgive it.
He reminds me of the Starman from Earthbound.
Okay. Also, everybody has the tiniest legs.
Yes.
Yeah.
They look like toothpicks.
It's like, why does everyone have a 3 foot wide shoulder and a 1.5 foot wide waist?
I think that's a little generous.
A little.
Yeah. A little bit.
I'm just sitting here. It's like, how do you get your feet under your shoulders? You're practically spread eagle to do that because the shoulders go on for days.
Mm-hmm. I mean, so they have so small butts they can't even keep their pants up. I have no idea how they're keeping their pants up.
What you're saying is
they don't got any junk in that trunk.
They all no. I was going to say apparently what they need to do is they need to go over to Toei and steal some rider belts to keep their pants up.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
I'm sure the Gynecast has plenty of those left over, as many as they had.
Ken is like, hey, Hongo, I need that. There. Now my pants won't fall out.
As long as it's not the talking ones from Drive.
Oh my gosh.
We got too many talking things in this movie as it is.
Right.
Right.
Talking machines, I mean.
I was going to say, I should have asked Siri.
Oh gosh. I do like her comeback. She said, "Well, you should just ask Siri."
I didn't mean anything by that, D-Lit. Yeah, I'm sure. Okay, I'm sorry. I apologize for being robo-racist or whatever it was you said.
Robo-racist. Hey, at least I didn't turn into something this time.
Androidist.
Can we try a droidist? Can we copyright that? Robo-racist? I kind of love it, actually.
Oh, but you get all the money from it. Okay, I see how this goes.
Oh, that's wrong.
You can't even get money. You don't have any way of spending it because you only shop on Space Amazon. Oh, they accept all kinds of currency. Yeah, how long has that transmogrification juice come on yet? Sure.
I would have figured that as a machine that she's using like PayPal or Venmo or something.
You would think.
It's Space Venmo.
Space Venmo.
Yes.
That stuff takes forever to transfer.
Well, I mean, it's going across light years.
That is true.
I mean, that's what she uses to pay for Space Hulu.
Space Hulu.
Apparently.
Is it nothing but Star Trek reruns? Is that what it is?
No, because it's owned by Space Disney. It's all Star Wars reruns.
Oh.
Occasionally,
Space Star Wars reruns.
Space Star Wars. There we go.
Yeah, and occasionally, Space Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah, there is that every once in a while. And on a good night, you can catch the Black Hole. And the Cat from Outer Space.
Oh. Disney's a couple of forays into space operas.
And Flight of the Navigator.
Oh, yeah, that one too.
That was my movie when I was a kid. But anyway. Okay, we'll get back to the rest of the show. Calm down, D-Lit.
Good Lord, I have never heard D-Lit so angry, and I'm not even MIFV Nate with Jimmy tonight.
Touchy.
Lord. D-Lit, you are why people are scared of AI. I'm just saying.
They better be, huh?
Ay.
All right, so...
D-Lit, you're not secretly Skynet, are you?
Skynet wishes they were you. That's good to know. Jacob, I think we're on you next.
Make sure not to use John Connor as alias. Got it.
Oh, you have Arnold Schwarzenegger on speed dial. That's good to know.
I am Arnold Schwarzenegger.
She says, no, you're not.
You deny that I am Arnold.
Like, zoinks, man, this is getting weird.
We are unhinged. Anyway,
I think we have our first dislike from Jacob coming up.
Yes.
So.
All right, are we ready? Are we ready?
Yes.
Ready, go.
The art style in this.
No!
Double down.
Double down, because Jake started it, and so, like, being the art guy, it's like, okay, so...
Do I need to hit the other button?
No,
No, I have that button.
There's no rant master in this, so it's just more the art style, definitely for the human-like characters. Everything else looks great. Yeah, everything is like, it's all built on triangles. Like, everything is triangles.
Guys, you realize that just means
edges.
That just means everybody in this movie is technically a snack.
Do you realize how wrong that could go?
Oh my gosh, you're not kidding.
I have read some articles where people were talking about. I'm assuming most of them are women, are going a little crazy, shall we say, for Ken Sato.
Oh, jeez.
So snack, yeah.
Yeah, no.
Anyway,
anyways,
moving on.
Anyways. Digging a hole.
I do this all the time.
With one joke, I just got you an explicit label.
I hate to tell you this, Nate, but that sounds like you haven't listened to the last 2 episodes, because I have been digging this hole since we got back.
Yes.
No, I have heard the last 2 episodes.
So yeah,
I'm the one who talked about killing people in The Sims. So.
Oh my gosh, not kidding.
That's because you're a sociopath.
That's because that's what everybody does in the game.
That is true. Be like. Anyways, let's get timer goes out.
Technically, I have been murdering digital people since I was like 3 years old playing video games.
Yes, I've killed Bowser so many times.
No. Anyways, let's get to my first. It's like the art style. Be like everyone's built like a chip. Be like they're all angles and everything. Like, I understand where they're trying to the aesthetic wise, but when it comes to be like Ken's expressions are nuts. I'm going to go over because we kind of got a little lost in the loopy loop here. But Ken's expressions, his expressions are great, but everything is so freaking angular about everything. But it's all angles, which is like crazy for our audio listeners to be like distorting your face, but it's all in just like.
people watching the stream, you just had the pleasure of watching Jacob try to shape his face into a triangle. It was kind of amazing.
You're welcome.
Are you saying they should have got stuck closer to trying to be Big Hero 6?
Maybe, but I applaud the direction they went with the art, but when you have all of the kaijus and what have you, the environment itself is more round. I'd be like, obviously you want to make Emmy more stand out of a character, so she's more of a round, circular character. So in that regard, you want to make her stand out in your field of vision.
Well, that's because she's supposed to be a baby. She's supposed to have baby fat.
Exactly.
She's supposed to look chubby.
Exactly.
And I could tell you, I've seen an action figure of this Ultraman. I think his official name is Ultraman Rising, because that's the subtitle for the movie. And it is an actual colon. It's Ultraman : Rising. You know, because it's a reference to the Ultraman rise when he transforms.
Yes.
But metaphorically for growing up and becoming a parent and all that. But that design looks just as weird as an action
it does.
figure.
Yes, it does. I'd be like, I think
actually, Jake, you bought the action figure, didn't you? You found it at Walmart.
Oh no, I didn't buy it.
Oh, you didn't buy it. Okay, you sent Chris and I a picture. Like, look what I found at Walmart today, and I thought you actually bought it.
No, I was going to. I might pick it up eventually.
Okay. Yeah. So they're trying to go for they're exaggerating the superhero
everything exaggerated.
Because that's a superhero is supposed to have broad shoulders, really broad shoulders, wide chest, thinner waist.
Yeah, I'm having trouble recalling the art style, which they use a lot of angles. It was like back in the 70s.
Cubism?
Yeah, it is cubism. Thank you. It is very much cubism.
Cubism's pretty extreme, though.
Yeah, but it's a form of cubism. It's a form of cubism. It's not as extreme, but they're using the extremism light of cubism for all of our human characters, which makes them very odd to look at, like visually and aesthetically, and I find it baffling their choice, but I applaud their choice at the same time. So it's kind of a nitpick because I look at it and it's like, wow, that's aesthetically odd. Okay, I get it. I'd be like, I start looking at like all the artistic views of where they're trying to go with that. And it's like, okay, cool. But at the same time, it's like, that is funky. Because everything else is based on a normal dynamic shape, and everybody's like jaw squared, built, trying to. They're all like Nate said, built like a chip.
Yeah.
What kind of chip you got in there? A Dorito?
Dorito. All right, my turn.
Yes, Nate.
Yes.
All right. Okay. Some of the characters in this movie needed a little bit more development, and by that I mean details about what exactly is going on with them.
Agreed.
I the first time I watched this, especially, I felt a little blindsided by the revelation about Dr. Onda, and I'm like, oh, when were you Ayane from Gamera 3? Okay. And watching it a second time, there is a little hint added, but it's, in retrospect, like, it's not quite strong enough. But you might have wanted to lead with that a little sooner and lean into it a little bit more, especially since we have all these parental through lines going on through this. You might have wanted to spend a little more time on Dr. Onda being the father in mourning.
Yeah.
Yes.
And if that's going to be your impetus, because he goes ballistic at the end, and the performance is good.
Yes.
And the sentiment in isolation at that moment at the end, that is good. But the lead up to it, it didn't feel strong enough, And I mean, I did like the scene where he's talking to the captain. He's like, "Oh, you have kids, right? 2 of them? Yeah, they're my world, sir." Like, there are moments of it that are good, but it needed more development. I also want to know why the journalist, what is it?
Amy.
Not Ami.
It's Ami.
Ami.
Is it Ami? Okay. Because
Ami's the journalist.
We have an Emmy and an Ami, and it's only a little confusing.
We have Emiko, Ami. So, yeah.
Yeah. I want to know why she's a single mom. I know that sounds weird. It's like, did she just adopt her daughter as a single mom? Was she in a relationship before? Is she a young widow? Like, I have questions. Is she divorced? Because depending
things that could have
on
just been brought up in conversation. And
because some people might think that's an irrelevant detail. No, I think it's a very relevant detail, especially since they're playing with at least some flirtation and potential attraction.
Since she's the love interest.
Making her a potential love interest, like, that's going to affect things, and I think would affect the kind of advice that she would give, and maybe why her daughter is the way she is. Like, I have questions about that, and so it's stuff like that. And I do think that some of the stuff between Professor Sato and Ken might have needed a little bit more fleshed out, because in the first scene, because we're told it's like, oh yeah, you didn't pay attention to us, you picked being Ultraman over your family, all that. But the one scene that we see in flashback, they seem like a pretty happy family, and he runs off to go save people. So I guess you're just supposed to extrapolate from that he just kept doing that consistently.
Well, and it's not really explained why Emiko moved to America.
That is true.
Without just assuming that it's to get away from I forgot the guy's name, but Ultra Dad.
Professor Sato.
Professor Sato, yeah. And if that was the reason, that's fine, and I can understand why he didn't do it, but it almost felt like there was a bigger reason than that.
Yeah,
and that he decided to stay. Because it really kind of felt like they didn't get divorced. It's just he stayed in Japan to be Ultraman, and then she moved Kenji over to LA to do something else that we never get explained. So, because they still seem to be like a couple, even though they're separated.
Yeah. So it's like I said, the story itself is good. It's just that there's more. There were some details that I thought needed to be filled in. Also, we're not really told exactly what happened when she disappeared. And to be honest, the first time I watched the movie, I thought she had died.
Yeah.
And then they had to actually say, "Oh, she disappeared." And I looked at my brother and I said, "She'll be back before the end of the movie." Now, I wasn't entirely right on that.
Right.
They're saving that for the sequel, because apparently she's on M78, the Nebula M78, which is where Ultraman's home planet is. If you know your Ultraman lore.
Which is we'll get the Ultraman version of the Across the Spider-Verse scene with all with a sea of Ultramen, probably.
That would be kind of epic, because I would be the guy who would pause it and point each one of them out and tell you who all of them are. Anyway,
you got the whole Marvel license plate. Professor Sato had M78 on his license plate.
Yeah, because it's M78, and I'm trying to, because they've added to this. I'm playing my nerd card here. So he's from Nebula M78, from planet Ultra, and the Land of Light, which is a city on planet Ultra. But this is all stuff that's been sprinkled throughout the entire history of the franchise. So, but that's the full extent of it. Yeah. Anyway, who's next?
I do have one more dislike I can do, but if nobody else has a dislike, I can skip it.
I've got more.
Okay, well then, I'll go ahead and do my next dislike. And this is really going to be more of a nitpick. I am annoyed. Like I said, this is something I don't like, even though I fully understand why. I don't like that I have to wait for a sequel to answer so many questions that I have, because I want to know why he can inherit the Ultraman thing. Is his father from M78? How is this inheritable? I want to know.
Yeah, or is it like the classic Ultraman, where it's a alien being of light who bonds with a human?
Right, but then how does that allow him to pass that power down and then both still be able to turn into an Ultraman?
Well, see, that I'm not bothered by, because the Netflix anime, that the whole premise is that it's the son of the original Ultraman who's inherited the powers. But he wears power armor to do his thing.
Right.
And the idea is that by bonding with the being of light, his DNA was altered.
Fair enough. But it's like, but I don't. But the movie does nothing to tell you that. And admittedly, It's not necessary for this movie. For the story this movie is telling, that is not necessary information. That doesn't mean I don't want to know it, and I'm kind of annoyed I have to wait until a sequel hopefully gets made, because this is Netflix we're talking about. They've been known to unceremoniously cancel something just because it didn't pull in some magic number of subscribers.
Oh,
so
yeah, like Gamma Rebirth. Apparently, Gamma Rebirth is considered a failure.
Well, it was better than Kong. Anyway,
you're not kidding.
Much better.
But I'm kind of annoyed that there is a chance that this will never.
You, Eddie!
I'm kind of glad we don't have to see that character again.
Yes.
That we know of.
Yeah.
I'm so scared she's going to show up in MonsterVerse at some point.
If she gets eaten immediately after she shows up,
I will
scream. It's like, yes!
That's perfect. But yeah, I'm just annoyed that since this is they are planning on a trilogy, that all these questions that I have that maybe could have been answered like super quick, even with just a graphic on a screen somewhere, I have to wait till the sequel to hear it, because, and I can't guarantee that Netflix won't cancel the darn thing. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's a bit of a risk to, have to save some answers for a follow-up movie.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying you shouldn't do that, but it's risky to do that because you may not get your sequel, and you could end up in a Pacific Rim Uprising situation where there's a bunch of stuff that's meant to be answered or dealt with in a sequel. Doesn't happen. But now we're getting a comic book sequel, which is on Kickstarter right now, and I should probably go fund it. So maybe we can finally get the conclusion to that trilogy.
Jake, do you have a second dislike?
I don't. I was just going to say pretty much what Nate said about the mother and Ken leaving. That didn't get explained, and why he's mad at his dad.
Yeah, and similarly to what I said earlier, and to what you were saying, Drew, is did anyone feel like Emmy's growth cycle was a tad bit
rushed,
accelerated?
Well, not rushed, but more like kind of out of kind of inexplicable and plot convenient.
Yeah, it was a bit plot convenient.
I was like,
it does.
I
I
get it. We don't know. They're saying like we don't know a whole lot about kaiju, so sure, you can have inexplicable things happen, but it's still kind of happened at convenient moment.
Yes.
Right.
I wonder how many times her species cocoons.
Yeah, because I was expecting her to be a lot different after she came out.
Yeah,
and not just
wings.
you got wings. It's like,
and then chirped like Mothra.
Yeah.
Oh well. Anyway, I'll go with my next one if no one else has any.
You have one, Jacob?
Do you have one, Jacob?
I have one.
Okay, Jacob, go.
All right, so my second dislike, it's one of those nitpicks when you watch a movie and you have like this amazing death, or you know the character died because there's no way on earth this character comes back, and then boop, they're back. And it's just like, really, be like it's like the it's like in most comic books, a character doesn't really die. Be like, you have this amazing
unless
moment.
your name is Uncle Ben or Gwen Stacy.
True, but
no, they've kind of brought Gwen Stacy back.
Yeah, they brought her back from a different universe.
Cloning doesn't count.
Yeah.
Right, but nuance, whatever.
Spider Gwen does not count.
Yeah. So what my point is, like when like Ultra Dad be like Dr. Sato, am I saying that right?
Professor Sato.
Professor Sato. Be like he's in the tube and the house gets attacked and you don't see the body, you don't see the tube. And this great moment where Ken be like, gets angry and transforms into Ultraman. It has this amazing moment. Be like, a man who is out for revenge. My father has been killed. My child has been abducted. I'm going to go, wreck some shop because I got to find these people because they killed my father. And then he just pops up. I'm like, I get why they do it, but like there are no deaths in this movie. I guarantee the villain survived somehow.
There was a death in this movie.
I have no.
Mina.
No, he kind. Well, Mina did genuinely die. But no, I don't think Dr. Onda survived making his pack rim mecha go boom boom.
He didn't survive either.
You never know. Be like, there again, there's supposed to be a sequel, so he might show up. Just mechanized.
Why would they? You know what? I'm going to tell you right now, for a sequel, if they have Emmy in it, it will not make sense because they clearly have wrapped up Emmy's story, so they can move on to go off planet. But much like with Grogu, Emmy has proven to be the deadly combination of cute and marketable.
Yeah, agreed.
That they will find an excuse to keep her around because that's the combination everybody and their dog wants, especially if your name is Disney or Bandai.
I can see them bringing Emmy back for a third movie if it's got to take place back on Earth, but that's about it.
Also, Kaiju Island is not Monster Island, just an FYI.
I'm aware.
Yeah, so
I've been to Monster Island on your show. I know what it looks like.
A few times on a frog.
Once was on a frog.
Once
a certain computer missed, and we landed on an egg.
Yeah, that wasn't a fun experience at all.
Yeah.
No, we didn't like it. Move on.
Yeah, moving right along.
Dig-a-doom, dig-a-doom.
But just like, yeah, just the fact to be like the mother is allegedly still alive. The father is alive. The Gigantotron is still alive.
Gigantotron.
I feel like, or what is
Gigantron?
It's Gigantron.
Okay,
you added a syllable.
Yeah,
it's Gigantron, which is not a great name.
Yeah,
which is even worse when you get to.
It sounds like a robot name, and then they make it sound even goofier with
Mecha
Gigantron.
Yeah,
like,
Mecha.
It's like they designed the robot version first and called it Gigantron, and then decided no, that's the name of the biological version. Now we're going to put mecha stuff on, so now it's going to be Mecha Gigantron.
It's Digivolution.
Right.
It is. That's Digivolution.
Yes, it's
Digivolution.
That actually, not getting there. I mean, Emmy kind of had a Pokemon evolution.
Yes, she did. Yeah, she didn't really have a Digivolution. She had a Pokevolution.
Moving on.
Moving right along.
Still makes more sense than Digivolution ever will. Come at me, Digimon fans. I don't care.
Yeah, Jacob, go at him.
Maybe not this moment, but I understand where some people say, "Oh, Digivolution doesn't really work because you take."
I would say data packets, but moving on.
But
no, I'm just talking about like how none of
aesthetically, I agree,
the evolutions make no sense.
No, they don't make any sense. Be like some of them do, some of them don't. But at the same time, be like you have more. This is a digital evolution. You change to something digitally. Be like it's not a natural progression into something else.
Sure,
it's not a Pokevolution.
But it shouldn't at least.
This is why we need to have that short. Yes, we have threatened before to have a short on Pokemon versus Digimon.
Yeah, agreed.
I mean, I'm just saying. I mean, you can argue the merits of both franchises. Yeah. You know, you can. I'm just saying, Pokemon Evolution makes more sense.
Fair. I see your point. I do. Just for someone who is a Digimon fan, because I saw Pokemon, it was like, one, it was on WB, I couldn't watch it, so it was like, everybody was like, no, then I saw this in '99, it was like,
he was
Digimon.
an early hipster.
Shut up.
I guess.
He was
although I'm going to tell you right,
Pokey hipster.
Pokey hipster. Although I'm gonna, did he look like the clown Pokemon? You know, it was
Mr. Mime.
Oh gosh.
Mr. Mime. Yeah, was he Mr. Mime? I will tell you right now, though. Why
does Mr. Mime speak?
Both of them do technically should annoy me at least slightly because a Godzilla series was a victim of their war.
Really?
Yeah, yes, the one we reviewed.
Godzilla the series was super popular until the Pokemon Digimon war between Fox and Warner Brothers heated up, and then, well, guess what was one of the casualties? That show.
That makes sense.
Because it kept getting dropped for more Digimon.
Of course, because Digimon is Digimon. It's the Mon.
Well, it was Fox Kids, which was run by Saban.
True. There's the sad trombone there. That's what I was looking for.
You got that show that the people who are running the block own versus the one that they're licensing from an entirely other company. Of course, the one that they own is going to be the one they choose. Of course. Especially when it's going to make more money facing a trend. But that's all beside the point.
Yeah, beside the point. Anyway,
Yes.
I'm gonna claim my my final one.
Well, go ahead, Nate.
Unless somebody wants a bonus, because
No, go ahead.
Jake only has one. Anyway.
At this point, just Mega Digivolve to your next form.
That, I
Your
don't know how
final
to
form.
take that. Anyway,
This isn't even my final.
Okay, Frieza.
That's what I say every time I rant master. Rant master is my final form. Anyway. Full tilt Cobra Commander there. But anyway, anyway,
Please go to monsterislandfootball.com.
I'm not actually trying to rant master.
I know. I had to play that at that point.
I know you had to do it at least once. I want royalties. Anyway,
Once we make money.
Yeah, we'll send you a penny.
Just refund my Patreon. Anyway, there are some plot holes in this, and normally, if the plot holes are small, I don't worry about it too much. But the entire story hinges on a certain premise, and it's hard to kind of get around it, which is our villains want Emmy because they want to follow her back to Kaiju Island to destroy all the kaiju because they don't know where it is. Okay, that's fine. Homing instinct makes sense.
I mean,
but
you think they'd use that universe's version of Google Maps to find an island no one's been to?
No, I don't care about that. That's not what I'm worried about. I don't care about that. That's not what I'm worried about. I'm willing to go with the Uncharted Island trope, even in this day and age. They steal the egg, and they're assuming that the baby, that Emmy will go back using its homing instinct. So wouldn't that mean they stole the egg from Kaiju Island? So
yeah, that was a question I had. Is like, how does it know where Kaiju Island is?
Yeah. So why are you stealing the egg to wait for it to hatch? I mean, couldn't you follow the adult back, or they're just if you think about that for more than 5 seconds, the entire thing falls apart, and which I think is why the movie has to be so full of heart, because because it helps. They're trying to. I think they're trying to mask that a little bit, but
their pseudoscience needs work.
Yeah, but you can probably get around it and just change their motivation. They don't want to get to Kaiju Island. They want to, they want to make Kaiju into bioweapons and then send them out to Kaiju Island and wipe it out or something like that.
Yeah, makes more sense.
Yeah, there's ways to get around. You can just tweak it slightly. You can keep the story basically the same. And okay.
I know he's saying Schwatch, but it sounds like he's saying Jax.
I hear Jets.
It's supposed to be Schwatch. Schwatch. So, I mean, there's some other ones I could kind of point to, but they're much more minor by comparison. That is the big one. It's just like homing instinct, but it's an egg. And
it was not born. Why would it know how to get there?
Yeah. Well, no, it's like I can understand homing instinct, but then it's like, well, the mother is trying to go back, and you want to shoot her out of the sky, and even Ultraman's like, why don't you just let her go? And I'm thinking, yeah, you could just follow her back. I mean, come on, guys. Yeah, I don't know. That's a big one, and it could have been fixed with some minor tweaks.
Yeah.
Anyway.
That brings us to the end of this of our likes and dislikes. We need to rate this movie, guys.
Yes.
On a scale from 0 to 10, the average to the closest half. What are y'all rating this film? Nathan.
I will give it an 8. I would say it's good, but I wouldn't call it great. I do think some people have overhyped it a little bit because of how heartfelt it is, and that's really is the best part of the movie. Is when you get into the surrogate father shenanigans and some of the drama associated with that. When the movie leans into that, it does very well. And I have to say, as an American adaptation of a Japanese property goes, I'm happy to say this one turned out very well, because I read a few years ago an interview with a guy. I don't remember who it was, but it was a guy who was high up with Subaraya, and he said that, yeah, you think we haven't gotten offers from Hollywood? Sure, we have, but we want to make sure that Ultraman remains distinctly Japanese. I think it was that was a very kind, very roundabout Japanese way of saying we want to make sure the Americans don't screw up our character. We want Ultraman to be out there and be an international brand, but we're very protective of him at the same time, which I think is why it had to be mentioned in the background information going in. There's like, they had to be convinced a little bit to even let them make this movie. And when they saw that, the concept art of him cradling Emmy, that's what sold them on. It's like, okay, you get the character. Go ahead.
Have fun.
You have our blessing. And it's done very well for them because it's made a lot of people interested in the franchise who weren't interested before.
Yeah, I can see that because you had the debacle with Mask Rider, as I know Mask Rider. Yeah,
I think Toei. I don't think Toei has forgiven the Americans for that.
Which is why it's so hard to get more Kamen Rider over here.
It's slowly coming in, but it's also partly because of Toei's business practices. They're
ancient.
Yeah, they're greedy and they ask way too much money. But then apparently, once you pay them the king's ransom that they want for all of their media, they're the best people to work with. Because you bribed them.
Yeah.
Or the one that I always forget, and the best Godzilla movie ever, Godzilla '98.
We don't talk about Godzilla '98.
Yeah, see, I was gonna be nice and bring up stuff like Dragon Ball Evolution.
The
live action Ghost in the Shell.
That wasn't too bad.
It wasn't bad, but I can see how the native Japanese would not like it.
Actually, I know when they showed them pictures of Scarlett Johansson as the Major, like, yeah, we love it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
they weren't bothered.
But
no,
it's only Americans.
Not everything's been Alita. Not everything's been Alita Battle Angel.
Yeah. Well,
oh my gosh! Please bring a sequel to that one.
Please. But I'll just say this really quick. I understand the fanboy complaints with Godzilla '98, but that for me, that is not its cardinal sin. Its cardinal sin is that it's a terrible '90s blockbuster. and it has all the trappings of a bad '90s blockbuster.
It's '90s cheesy goodness.
That is a lot of fish, though.
That is a lot of fish.
That is a lot of fish. It should have been called Beast from 20,000 Fathoms because it has way more in common with that. Anyway, I'm done. I have an episode of it coming eventually. I can't get away from it. I don't have the vitriol that a lot of people have.
All right, so Jake,
what are you rating this?
I'm gonna go with an 8. Overall, it was really enjoyable. I could have fun watching it. I could look past the animation of the people. But yeah, overall, I think it was a good, solid movie. There was things they could work out. Hopefully, they work it out in the sequel.
If there's a sequel.
If there's a sequel.
I don't trust Netflix as far as I can throw it.
Yeah.
I think it's given.
It's not Max, so.
No, I'm just saying. I think even Netflix can't ignore how, at least from what I can tell, how successful this has been.
Yeah, I think it did really good. So, I think we'll get one. At least I'm hopeful.
Yeah. Going into mine would be an 8, just like everybody else. Be like, it's a fantastic film. You can, like Jake was saying, like, you can look past the animation. It's a little bit of a sometimes with the people with their chip frames. But the story has tremendous heart. It'd be like it pulls the heartstrings, and it has this wonderful father-son reconnection and father-child relationship, and their bonding and growing over diversity and everything like that to overcome the evil that rises or what have you. It's a nice, warm story. It'd be like, I wish the animation wasn't so chippy, but overall, I'm gonna keep going with that pun. The chippy thing is just like fantastic. But overall, I really enjoyed this, so it's at 8. It's 8 chips.
Is that an entire bag?
A small
The
bag.
regular bag, yes. You know, the ones
That's
that
the
are
serving size.
3/4 air.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, you pay the same price. You just get less stuff.
That is
Yes.
true. Inflation,
So-
you gotta love it.
It's called shrinkflation.
Yeah, it's definitely shrinkflation.
So I'm going to break with the consensus a little bit and go 8.5.
Oh, okay. I thought it was gonna go lower.
I don't have the issues with the art style that y'all have. I think it's fine for this. It is a little angular, I'll admit, but it doesn't bug me that much. And I had a generally good time with it. I mean, both of my dislikes, I would say, were nitpicks more than anything else, because I can kind of work with it as it is. And I think, I don't know, I just enjoyed it a little bit more than just an 8, so I got to give it 8.5. And that brings us to the end of the review. Next week is a Patreon sponsored episode.
Yes.
And at the last minute, that's our Bobo, which is the only way I know him as, did pay us $10 to get something in there. And we did have a little bit of a back and forth to do it because, no offense, we did not want to start Bad Movie Month a week early. Because the movie he first suggested gave us, it looked like this might have been the video that killed all those people in the ring. Or what that video was
When I
based
saw
on.
that, it was like, whoa, okay, no. Because he described it. It was like, I don't think so.
I will send you a link. I don't want to get into it on the show. 'Cause
Okay.
At a later point, we might review this and as a part of Bad Movie Month.
Hey, you know, if you ever do a shorts series again, like you did for the hiatus, I realized there was one I should have gone with.
Oh.
That
Wait,
was even more on brand, and I've never talked about before, and it would have been perfect. It's only 2 minutes.
Well, I will keep that on the back burner, because at some point we probably should be recording some backup episodes.
Yes.
But because we haven't done that since COVID, and we ran through all those already.
Yes.
But instead, he got us something. From what best I can tell, it's from Britain. It is a failed pilot for a Saturday morning cartoon called Mad Balls, based on a toy.
Yes.
And since that was only a half hour long, and there was technically another VHS tape that was connected to it, I decided to include that one as well. So at least it's an hour-long review.
Yes.
We might still be starting Bad Movie Month early. We'll see.
Maybe. Yeah, because that gives me the perfect opportunity to go punt down a Mad Ball.
Mad Balls was one of the most 90s things that ever 90s.
Yes.
But it failed, apparently, to even get real episodes made. So
That is true, but
I just like the toy line.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Toy Line succeeded very well. But it lasted in I think the mid to early 90s.
I remember
feel
the
like
And
commercial.
they recently brought him back.
I feel like it was trying to compete with Killer Tomatoes.
Oh, it
Probably.
was. It was.
At least the toy line.
Yeah.
Yeah, once they brought that cartoon in, based on the
We
movies.
tried to. Oh yeah.
Hey, I enjoyed that cartoon.
Technical Mosbos, yes.
But
I've seen 2 of those movies.
I've seen Return.
But yeah, that's what we're going to be reviewing next week, and then we're going to be taking a week off because I'm going to be out of town for Labor Day,
And I'm going on a mini vacation with my wife.
And then come September, it's
Bad Movie Month.
And Nate's returning on that first episode
Hey,
for
you're doing
the
yourself, brother.
return of Tentacles. My understanding is in the movie for a grand total of 5 minutes.
But the original title is named after him.
Tentacolino.
Really?
Yes.
Tentolino.
Tentacolino.
Oh gosh.
That is one of the worst things I have ever reviewed on a podcast, and I have suffered through things.
You agreed to it. We warned you so bad
Yes.
before we did that first one.
Oh,
and you agreed to do it.
Poor MIFV Nate is going to have opinions about the North Korean sequel to The Throne of Lies about Titanic with the kaiju octopus.
I'm certain that our episode did not help MIFV Nate.
No,
he was visiting the glorious fatherland.
I was going to say, because at this point he's a wanted man for daring to be sarcastic in North Korea. Because it is illegal. That is not a joke, people. That is not a joke. Sarcasm is illegal in North Korea. Look it up.
So yeah, join us in the coming weeks for that. In the meantime, after the bumpers, well, we got a special announcement before we jump into Spy Family.
This podcast is a proud member of Culture Box. Whether you enjoy geeky reviews, comedy, or original fiction, you can open up the Culture Box and find something excellent for your soul. Point your web browser to culturebox.media.
This week, we suggest checking out The Rushmore Show. The Rushmore Show is the place for ranking the ultimate top 4 in sports, video games, nostalgia, movies, and so much more. Each week, Andy and Kirk spark engaging discussions and friendly debates, making The Rushmore Show your compass in the realm of pop culture rankings. You can find out more on their YouTube channel, where it's all about your top 4 and nothing more. The Cellcast would also like to thank the following patrons: Ashley and Francisco Ruiz, PaulJPowers.com, The Monster Island Film Vault, and Edwin Gonzalez. If you would like to have your name shouted out on the show, some special art from Jacob, uncut episodes, and for $5 extra, you can force us to review one more movie, as we have one more movie as a patron pick. By the end of the year, you can give us your favorite Christmas movie. That would work fine. But we do reserve the right to say no, and Bobo can attest that we can do that.
See.
So please, you can do that. You can support us over there on our Patreon. Check the link in the discussion to get there. So, normally, up until last week, this is where I would tell Jacob that I had a question for him. However, we're messing with the format a little and moving our What We've Been Watching segment and our news to a special monthly show that's going to be showing up in our network. Oh. And this just happened to be the first one where we decided to push it off, which was really smart now that I'm thinking about it, considering D23 was last weekend.
Yes.
And there's a lot of stuff to talk about.
We got Stitch!
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying.
I'm still saying I'd preferred Muppet Stitch, but we'll see.
Oh, I'm just saying, I mean, it's interesting because, Jake and I could have, done some shameless self-promotion for HPV3 and said, like, yeah, we're watching Kamen Rider V3. Come listen to the show.
Well, I was going to let y'all do a list a little bit, but our main thing was, our main stuff was, for me and Jacob, we were skipping this week.
So
yeah, that's fine.
So all I have to say is,
I'm sure that was a string of profanity in some language someplace.
Thank you for censoring Jacob in that moment, Deedler.
Hey! You can't censor my art. Come on!
Oh, but you did? Okay.
Oh, why? I'm not going to say anything because I was turned into something. I'm not going to let that happen again. Hopefully. Oh, crap.
You do not want to know.
Oh, sweet nibbles.
So, yeah, did y'all... I will actually go ahead and let y'all do your shameless self-promotion,
yeah,
since
even
though we're in the middle of the show. Yeah, even though you're sticking around, I know Jake's going to be leaving, so I'll let y'all go ahead and do y'all's thing, since we're skipping the main segment.
I do want to mention that, a quick little bit of news that you guys haven't talked, because it's relevant to what we talked about tonight.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
And something that's going to be happening in the future.
Right. And it actually goes back to G-Fest. This was some... the news was dropped just before G-Fest, which was last month. Jake and I were there. Mm-hmm. And then I actually got some more details from Jeff Gomez, who was on the show to talk about Ultraman Rising. But what you may not know is that Ultraman Rising is not the first animated Ultraman project. Obviously, there's the CGI anime for Ultraman that went 3 seasons, but that wasn't the first either. There was an anime back in the late 70s, which you can now buy on DVD. It's animated by I can't remember who it is, Sunrise. So it'll look a lot like Gundam. It looks a lot like Gundam, trust me. But there was actually one made in America in the late 80s, 1987. It was made by Hanna-Barbera. This was at a big lull in the Ultraman franchise. And it was called Ultraman The Adventure Begins. In Japan, it's called Ultraman USA. It was meant to be the pilot for a TV series, and it did not get picked up. Interestingly, it's noteworthy because I wish I could remember her name offhand, but the actress who voiced Catwoman in Batman the Animated Series is one of the Ultras in this. In the original dub, anyway. But which is what I was going to bring up. But it aired on TV, was released on VHS a couple of years, I think in 1989 or 1990, thereabouts, and then faded into obscurity in the United States. It was released on Blu-ray a few years ago in Japan, and somebody was kind enough to rip it and put it on YouTube, and it is gorgeous. Well, it was revealed just before G-Fest that this movie is going to be released on Blu-ray by Mill Creek next year.
Nice.
And it was going to be screened at G-Fest, and I managed to catch about a half an hour of it. I've seen it before, but I managed to catch about a half an hour because I had to go do a panel. But the interesting bit of news, and I'm still trying to get some clarification and details, which I think might be why, even though this quote-unquote new dub is already finished, that was the big announcement, is that they were quote-unquote redubbing it with new voice actors who have been dubbing the Ultraman shows that have been coming out the last couple of years.
Yeah.
And I wanted to know what exactly was going on with that, because the reason why I don't think it's been released until more recently is rights issues, because this was made originally by Hanna-Barbera, and I don't even know who owns any, by Hanna-Barbera library at this point, because it was
Turner and Warner
bought
Brothers.
by Warner Brothers and Zaslav and all that stuff, so I don't know what's going on there.
I'm fairly certain that there are some things that the rights are even more tangled, because I know the Godzilla series has got to be is partially owned by Toho. And they don't seem to want to work together on that one. So
but Toho actually released the entire thing on their YouTube channel.
Right. I still want a physical version, but
I do too. I mean, there was two
one
volumes
season
of it. Well, no, 3. There was 3 volumes, but the third one's almost impossible to find. But anyway, it's beside the point. That's beside the point. It's a Gordian knot, but apparently they're untying it. But I'm suspicious that the reason why they had to redo all of the dialogue with new actors was part of how they were trying to untie that Gordian knot. So, which I'm fine with, but I would like the original version to be included. And I don't know if that is the case right now. That might be why it's going to take a year before, because this new quote unquote dub is done. It was shown at G-Fest.
Right. But there's probably still some voice issues they got to work out.
There might be some stuff they need to work out. I don't know if it's going to be included or not. Jeff Gomez is going to get back to me on that to know for sure. If it's not, I'm buying the Japanese Blu-ray, because Japanese Blu-rays will play on American players because they're the same region, and it's originally in English. So I don't have to worry about not having subtitles or anything.
That is weird, because this sounds like it's going to be an English-made thing that was first translated into Japanese, and that's going to be translated back for a new dub.
It was an American production.
I know it was an American production.
It was originally done in English.
Are they using? They're using the original They're using the original American script for the redub.
Yes,
okay.
It's the exact.
That's what I was getting at.
Yeah, it's the exact same thing. It didn't change a single line. And I can tell you from the bit of it that I saw that the new actors do try to sound of the era.
By the way,
but those voices, once you actually hear them, they're very distinct. Like I said, you'll hear Catwoman. She's because this
Adrienne Barbeau.
This movie has 3 Ultras, 2 guys and a girl, and their official names are just the characters' names, because they are humans who bond with the aliens, but they just use their regular names. So their names are, I'm not kidding. And these characters have come back in live action, actually. They've made suits for them in the last couple of years. But their names are, let me see, it's Chuck, Beth, and I can't remember the last one. It's Chuck and Beth. Oh, Chuck, Beth, and Scott. So Ultraman Chuck, Ultraman Scott, and Ultra Woman Beth. Those are their official names.
By the way, that original actress for Catwoman was Adrienne Barbeau.
Yes.
That's right. It was Adrienne Barbeau. Yeah, she's Ultra Woman Beth, which is kind of interesting.
Or was.
Yeah, was. So I just wanted to bring that up, and the reason why it's relevant because of what we're talking about tonight, but it's also relevant, and this is not a revelation. I've announced this before, but next year on the Film Vault, I will be covering Ultraman movies. The first of which will be Ultraman: The Adventure Begins, and guess who's going to be the guest?
We have been invited.
Yes.
Yep.
We will see how things look. I'm planning on being there no matter what, but you never know with Jacob's schedule.
Yeah. But like, it sounds like fun because I had fun with Ultraman Rising. Do you kind of get a better understanding or more?
And this being a Hanna-Barbera thing, you know it's going to at least look good.
It's going to look good.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's gorgeous. Like, I've seen it, but the animation is gorgeous. Like, if you love 80s animation, this is like everything you would love about 80s animation. And the monster designs are wild, and it goes
That's saying
really
something.
crazy at
So that's
points.
saying something considering some of the Ultraman kaiju I've seen.
Oh, they took it full advantage of this being animated. Like, they go wild with the monster designs in this. I can't recommend it enough. It's actually, I think it's a very underappreciated piece of Ultraman media, and actually, to be honest, I think it's an underappreciated animated film.
Well, I'm looking forward to it, so we'll see how that goes. Anything else y'all want to promote before we jump into TAS?
Jake, I think you're bugging out, so you can go ahead and do yours.
Well, if you want to find me, you can just listen to me on the Henshin Power V3. We do have a Facebook group. It's called the Markalight Lounge and Discord. And I have an Instagram. It's HPV3_metal_Don.
Yeah, that's his. Yeah, because that's his nickname. We didn't mention that. We all three of us hosts on HPV3. We all have funny nicknames.
Wow.
He's the Metal Don. Oh, he's the Metal Don because that's a reference to Metal Heroes. Because he's our Metal Heroes guy. I'm the Sue Bro instead of Sue Pro. Super Eye Productions because I love Ultraman. And then our friend Chris is the Sentai guy.
Gotcha.
Roger.
Yeah, we should have led with those. We didn't lead with those.
I didn't even
we gotta
think of
work
that.
on leading with the silly nicknames.
Yes.
But yeah, and we're currently going through the Kamen Rider V3 that will wrap up, I think, by next month.
Yeah, good timing on that, considering another announcement made at around that time with the fact that Shout Factory got Kamen Rider V3.
No, Discotheque.
Discotheque, sorry.
Discotheque grabbed a bunch of stuff.
They did.
It looks like
Oh
they
my
grabbed
God.
all of Kakaider's library.
They picked up everything that Generation Kakaida had except Inazuman. They haven't. I'm expecting they probably are. They probably got it. They just haven't announced it yet.
But yeah, good timing on that, by the way.
Yeah, well, yeah. Which
Considering
means
I
you
know
don't
how
have to-
expensive
you
those
won't have
discs
to-
are.
I was gonna say that means you won't have to pay $1,100 for those DVDs on the secondhand market.
Which
now.
means if I'm going to sell mine, I need to hurry.
Yeah. But yes, I will unfortunately be double dipping on all of those because they all have different special features than the Generation Kakaida sets.
Right.
Yep.
Oh well, there are worse things. Plus, I like supporting Discotheque and what they're doing. They are blessing us with an overabundance of toku riches at this point. Yeah. So, and relevant to what we talked about tonight, once we finish V3, our first host selection series will be the OG Ultraman from 1966.
I need to get caught up on that before y'all get to it.
Well,
I'm halfway through the series.
Just watch it 10 episodes at a time, and you'll be fine.
That's not working for Kamen Rider V3, so because I've been busy.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah. So yeah, thank you, Jake, for joining us. We'll go ahead and let you out of here. So.
All right. Thanks, guys. It was good being here.
Yeah,
I'll see you
appreciate it,
tomorrow.
dude.
I'll see you tomorrow night, Jake.
Yep. We'll see you guys.
Nah, thank you.
See ya.
Orc.
James Bond Jr.
Speaking of Hanna-Barbera,
Yes.
What an agent, what a squirrel. He's got the country in a whirl. What's his name? Shh, secret swirl.
Johnny Quest.
Anybody want a peanut?
why did I forget I put that at the end of that?
It's
I
so
was
good.
waiting for that because I heard that joke and I joke, but I heard you say it the last time. I was like, how do
I
you not
know,
forget?
but I forget it every time.
But actually, I'm going to turn the tables. I'm going to turn the tables on Jacob over here. This is my interrogation. You didn't answer my question from before.
Oh.
Emmy or Anya? Choose.
Emmy or Anya? Oh, okay. This is interesting. Oh, wow. That's an interesting discussion.
Anya.
Oh,
Well, I wasn't asking you.
I know, but
I'm
I'm answering myself.
You're answering yourself. That is difficult because you have two characters who are very. I'm trying to use the right words because I don't want to say the wrong thing and people get implying I'm saying something I'm not trying to say. They're both appealing characters when it comes to like who they are and they're just like overall who they are as characters. But I would have to say Anya. Like Anya, just to be like she's just more this because there again, we only have the movie with Emmy, and then you have Anya, who's this very dynamic, definitely in this episode or the next episode, which is absolutely hysterical. It's like, what? Wait a minute, is she Inuyasha?
Although I have concluded that Emmy and Anya, if they were to meet, they would be best friends.
Yeah, agree. Yes,
Oh,
yes.
Anya would lose her mind.
She
She's like,
would.
oh my gosh, she's so huge. I love her.
This is so cool.
I'm going Anya because there is her between her psychicness and actually being able to talk. You can do more with that character that unfortunately you're never going to be able to do with Emmy.
Yeah. I'm just imagining her reading little Emmy's mind all the time. It's like, you like your daddy? Why is your daddy huge and silver?
Yes, I just think.
And your mama is a dragon?
What?
Your family's weird.
But so cool.
That's so cool.
I'm just saying, I've seen the movie Spy Family Code White. It is crazy, and I'm looking forward to eventually being able to get it on this show. Anyway.
Yes.
Mission 17. Carry out the Griffin Plan / Full Metal Lady / Omelet Rice Heart. Because there is a heart emoji at the end of the official title of this.
Okay. I've been keeping up with you guys' coverage. This episode threw me for a whirl. I'm just starting
Right.
to review early. Like this threw me. This was such a curveball.
It was for me too. This episode first aired on October 29th, 2022. Directed by Shu Hanma and written by Hanoka Kato. It adapts chapters 25, short mission 5, and the confidential bonus files from the volume 5 of the collection of the manga. And this is still in the midterm exams arc. In this episode, Anya attempts to continue the friendship plan by helping Damien in arts and crafts, but disastrous results ensue. Sylvia meets with Lloyd, and Yuri toughens up by surviving Yor's cooking.
Oh my gosh, this poor guy.
Getting into the trivia. The family photo Becky takes from Anya in this episode differs from the one in the manga, and is an updated version of the family photo from episode 3. In that episode, Lloyd, Yor, and Anya took a family photo that looks exactly like this one in the original chapter 25, Sans Bond. Said family photo also appeared in later episodes such as 4 and 16. The updated photograph in this episode includes Bond, but in it, Yor is also smiling instead of looking nervous, and her body language is much more relaxed compared to the first photo. Anya, meanwhile, has much less stiff expression and is also wearing different clothes in the new photo. Because Becky took away the updated photo with Bond in it, the original photo from episode 3 will later make an appearance in episode 20. but more on that when we get to episode 20. When Anya and Damien talk about their first prize art piece, they both mentioned only his father, whereas in the manga they actually talked about both of his parents. In the manga, Sylvia is introduced while in a sitting pose, but is not sitting on anything. In the anime, they do have her sitting in a chair, and if you follow anything with the manga, you'll know that the chairs that they're sitting in on the cover all are chosen intentionally because they're all based on actual luxury brand chairs, believe it or not. And so this episode came out before the book that featured the chair, and it was apparently based on a diamond chair designed by Harry Bertoia. Almost a year after the release of the episode, the chair, although without a cushion, was presented on Volume 12's cover art, which had Sylvia. In the Latin American Spanish dub of the episode, Sylvia's age is not fully censored. When the narrator mentions her age, he manages to say quar before being bleeped.
Oh.
This indicates that Sylvia is at least 40. Because Quarenta is 40.
Yep.
The public pool that Sylvia goes to shares the same exterior as the real-life Schwimmhall Flinkensteinli. I apologize to all our German listeners.
Flinkensteinli.
That's what Finkensteinallee. So Finkenstein Alley?
Flinkenstein.
I don't know. But it's in Berlin. So, like I said, my apologies to all our German listeners, whoever you may be. In the anime, Sylvia leaves the pool in a short blonde wig, whereas in the manga, her wig was black. And the episode's key visual is a parody of the painting Napoleon Crossing the Alps by Jacques-Louis David, with Anya riding a paper griffin model in the same pose as Napoleon in the painting. Lastly, during the Carry Out the Griffin Plan segment, we overhear Elwin and Emil, Damien's two little toadies,
little turds,
talking about a guy being hit by a truck. Later, during Full Metal Lady, we hear two of the secret police who are tailing Sylvia also talking about this guy who was hit by the truck. And during Omelette Rice Heart, we learn that the man who was hit by the truck was actually Yuri, who apparently had been awake for 4 nights.
Oh, that's right. I'm fine. Yes, my sister's cooking hardened me to like the point where I'm immune to everything.
I have to give kudos to this man. He can throw up and eat at the same time. While talking.
Yes. Oh my word.
He loves his sister that much.
Oh my gosh.
It helps to be powered by parody.
That is true.
Yes.
To quote Vegeta from an episode of Dragon Ball Super, she's too powerful because she's a comedy character.
Well, but
so
I do.
What are our thoughts on this episode?
Well, first I need to ask Jacob for some confirmation on something.
Okay.
Can love make you fly through the sky?
Metaphysically,
and
or
choose your answer wisely.
Actually, maybe listening.
Yeah, most likely, probably my lovely wife is probably asleep at this point. But I've gone home and she's still on the couch awake, which is something very rare for my lovely wife.
I'm looking forward to hearing about this tomorrow night.
Can you repeat that question one more time?
Can love make you fly through the sky?
Oh, when it's true love and not this bizarre weird thing that is in this episode, it's like I would say in some ways yes, because it's like, oh my gosh, be like I would do anything for this woman, and just like you go leaps and bounds, but like it feels like you can fly in some capacities. You can't physically fly, but metaphysically it's just like, wow, I'm sorry, because it's amazing.
Yeah. Also, who is letting this child watch what I assume is a soap opera? Berlin in Love.
Oh,
Becky
gosh.
Black Bell, I suspect, has only sees her parents on the weekends.
Yeah,
because that's the only time they're home.
and the fact to be like, she is such a bright spot of a character. There's something about her in the show. Be like, she's in the manga. This man is probably gonna figure out what she is and what she does. But I don't. I'm looking forward to it because,
as far as I know, she's just Anya's best friend.
This show like plants all these seeds with characters, and it's like, oh, okay, they're important later. So every character who has a running appearance in the show most likely is going to have a huge effect later on in the series. So I can only speculate that this Anya's best friend in school is either a child spy, something like that. Something
you're reading too much into it, I suspect.
Possibly, but
I don't think she's any more a spy than Damien is.
You never know. It's a spy show because you never know. Everybody might be going this way.
This child has a crush on her best friend's father.
Yeah, I agree, but it's just like, ugh. It's like, okay.
And she apparently knows enough science to make the claim, well, humans are animals too.
Oh gosh, that was great.
Funny.
That was great.
Funny.
Yes.
That was see, this is something that I learned with well, I shouldn't say learned, but it was solidified in my mind just when with these two episodes, just when I think I know what the show's going to do for comedic effect, it completely surprises me because it does not do the obvious joke. So I was thinking, well, I'll talk about when we get to the next episode, but that's when it dawned on me.
Right.
Yeah. So like going into the episode proper would be like the carry out of the Griffin plan. I love this part where it's more like it's an Anya story. It's an Anya story, and I love Anya stories because
I love her little fantasies.
Oh my gosh, it's so great because I
don't remember if it was this one or the next one. I think it was this one where she actually does the previously on segment.
Yes, it was this one. It's this episode. So
previously on Spy Family.
Oh, does she? Oh, yeah,
she made it last time on Spy Family. It's like, how do you know the name of this show?
She breaks the fourth wall like Deadpool.
I was gonna say apparently Anya is Deadpool.
Anya Pool.
Anya Pool. Oh no. No, this
do not draw that. Do not draw that. I do not need nightmares.
There is a kid pool. Hey, there is a kid pool.
I'm
aware of that.
I've seen both versions. I've seen the one played by Ryan Reynolds' kid and the one from the comics.
And speaking as someone who voices Deadpool, Wade disavows any knowledge of Anya.
Oh my gosh. So
he has no comments about Anya's true parentage.
Oh my gosh! But
although Deadpool being her father might explain a few things.
Oh
about
jeez! No wonder she could talk to the audience sometimes.
She's got the X gene.
Yes,
that's why she can read minds.
Oh my god!
She didn't get cancer.
Yeah, no, please no. Oh my gosh.
And for those of you who think I'm making a bad joke, Deadpool does have cancer. His power is super cancer.
Yeah, I do have to correct you. I've looked into it. Deadpool is technically not a mutant.
I know, but I've heard people jokingly say that his mutant power was
cancer.
Super cancer.
Cancer,
yes. Anyway.
Yeah. But like this whole part, because Anya, she'd be like, okay, I'm still on the mission. I still got to get Damien to like me and get to do this and this and this. And it's absolutely hysterical, like you said, Nate. The fact be like her whole, this is how things are going to do, her imagination. And here's the setup. Here's the setup for what I'm saying. So me and Ashley get home, and I still got to watch both episodes. So I'll just tell her, like, watching this thing, I can't give you really context of what's going on. And she's like, okay. And I explain a little bit here and there. It's like, okay, this is funny, but I don't understand what's going on. And
why do I suspect that what I thought was going to happen 6 months ago is now going to happen?
Well, the fact to be like, we're both sitting on the couch eating dinner, and I'm typing and watching at the exact same time. And it's just I look over, she's watching, she's curled up in a nap. Because that's what she takes naps. So I can't blame her.
She had a long day at school.
Yes, long week. But it was great. It was so freaking funny. But like Anya, she has this great imagination how it's going to play out. And I told my wife, be like, it's not gonna play out the way she thinks, and it doesn't, because it's Anya.
I love the fact that Anya, even though she can read minds, she doesn't really understand how people work.
She doesn't.
Great about her.
That's the big joke. She doesn't understand how people actually work.
No, it's
when she gets older and understands actual people, she's going to be a threat with that ability.
Oh yeah.
But for now,
she might turn it to. She might take over a small country.
I will say, not to spoil anything, because I know
Anya.
I know I'm the only person who's seen season 2. She does do a lot of smart things with this ability later on. Smarter for her, I should say.
But overall, it's absolutely hilarious because you get to see that child's mind, because we all remember when we were kids, we were thinking like, oh yeah, I'm going to do this and this and this and this, and it never pans out. Sometimes it did, but vast majority of the time, it never panned out for us. So, like, this whole perspective of Anya, and she's trying to get Damien to like her, I'll be like, I'm going to show the new picture of my doggy on it, and he's going to do this, and he just walks by and is like, oh my gosh, no! Like, the plan is ruined. It's her constant attempts trying to get Damien's attention. It's absolutely hysterical.
Yeah, and I guarantee you the little paper figurine that appears in this is probably a Bandai figure. Bandai looked at us like, we can make that.
Probably, and they'll sell it.
I can tell you it does show up in the ending credits of, I think, season 2. I can tell you that much.
Oh my gosh. But yeah, this part of the episode is so well done because it's all the kids. And for the Twilight shows up in it a little bit. Does he? I remember correctly.
It's the next episode.
It's the next episode he shows up. That's even funnier. But like, it's just overall be like the kids being kids, and they'd be like, "Oh yeah, you need to study more." Blah 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 blah. The brother shows up and like, "Oh brother, here we go." Be like, "Oh, I got to deal with this little
episode."
Oh, never mind.
Yeah.
I'm jumping ahead. Never mind.
Yeah, also, Jet Griffin sounds like a Super Sentai villain.
Yes, it does.
I want that to be a Super Sentai villain.
Jet Griffin?
Jet Griffin.
And it would be so easy. It's just a griffin with jets for legs.
That is true. That is true.
At least back leg.
I will say one thing I really do like about this episode we haven't touched on yet is the discussion Damien has on the phone there at the end when he's talking to the family butler, and you realize that despite all the money he's got really a crappy home life.
Oh yeah.
And I do like how that as much as I know technically he's the son of the quote unquote villain of this, I do like how you can tell they're writing him as a protagonist perhaps later on in the show.
Right. Also, I did love the fact that even though their project is junk, in true, as you put it, gag manga fashion, the adults read way too much into it, in humorous fashion. It's they all cried when they saw
the corpse.
Saw the griffin crying over the corpse of his child. And Anya's like, but that was a girl griffin.
It's so good.
And that was technically Bond.
Yeah, technically it was Bond.
I love the headmaster. I can't think of his name. The one that's in love with elegance. I love how he's completely confused as to how that thing won first place at the end.
He is, but he was also impressed with the best friend being like, "Well, humans are a kind of animal."
What? That's so profound for a first grader.
Miss Lady Black Belle. Whatever it was she said.
She's important later, I guarantee it at some point.
Okay. We should probably talk about the handler as segment.
Yes, we do need to touch on that one. And this literally is more just a character thing.
Yeah, it's a character piece.
You can tell at this point they were I don't know if they were trying to hit a certain point for the end of the show and they were having to put in some filler.
Yeah.
Which I think is what was happening here. But I do like this little short bit with the handler. showing how good a spy.
The bleeping
the
her
bleeping
age
was
thing
so good.
So funny. That cracked me up. I wonder if it's like, is it like that in Japanese too?
I would have to go. It's been a long time since I've seen the Japanese one. I'd have to, but I would not be surprised if it is bleeped. I do know that in the manga, because this didn't make it into the anime, the character file for Lloyd does say he prefers black underwear. Just to give you the kind of idea that this was not an original. This was definitely in the style of this manga.
Mm-hmm.
It just this finally made it into the show.
Wow.
Oh boy.
So,
I also I chuckled a little bit at her being called the Full Metal Lady, and I'm like, oh, like the Jacket, Panic, and Alchemist.
dude, when I first saw this episode and I saw the name of this was Full Metal Lady, my first thought was, please do not be referencing that episode of Full Metal Alchemist with a little girl and her dog.
Oh, jeez.
no.
And if you don't know what I'm talking about, folks, bless your heart.
Oh my gosh.
You do not need to look that up. Remain innocent.
Yes. Oh my gosh. It's like, what are you thinking? It's science,
dude. If they've already watched Ava, they're already ruined. Let them watch Full Metal Alchemist.
Yes.
And have like Happy Ava. That's what, because that's what Full Metal Alchemist is. It's Happy Ava.
Happy Ava.
Oh, fly me to the moon.
Because it gets as dark as Ava, but it has a happy ending.
Yes.
Spoiler warning.
Technically.
Ava had a happy ending, kind of.
But and then they made a movie.
Then the movie went.
It's like it happened a happy ending. And then they made a movie and ruined it.
It ruined it.
No, do not touch the button.
And then they did the rebuilds. And that goes like, what?
I'm kidding. I'm so kidding.
Please go to monsterislandfootball.com. Oh my gosh.
I need to increase the volume on that clip too. It's too quiet.
Yes, it is.
Anyway,
Yes.
the handler episode.
And then you got omelet rice heart.
Oh my gosh.
I don't even know what to do with that.
Poor Yor. Oh my gosh.
No, poor Yuri.
Yeah, Yuri, that's right.
Poor Yuri. And at the same time, I don't really. Yuri is not a character you're supposed to like.
No.
And I doubt I'll ever like him as a character, but I do feel sorry for him having to eat Yor's cooking.
Yes.
And then thinking it's the best thing ever. And this really explains his reactions in the Yor's Kitchen episode.
Yes.
I can't tell if he's sincere or not.
I think he is because he's in love with his sister that much.
Yeah.
It literally tastes that good to him, despite the fact that they had to censor the food on the process.
How bad it is.
Censoring the food was
hilarious.
It's like the only time I've ever seen that besides this was when you made bad food in Zelda Breath of the Wild. When you made dubious food.
It's like the one time in the show. It's the one time in the show where they decided to let you, they decided to let you know the food is so bad we can't even show it.
Yes.
Or
There's
will
gray
vomit.
scene coming
or
off.
we will have to increase the rating of the show
Over food.
It's like the opposite of all those anime cooking shows where they fall in love with the food. That's what I'll say.
Yes.
Food Wars.
That's one of them.
There's another one.
It is a trope, my friend. They do this even in shows that are not food based.
Oh boy.
There's a lot of isekai you probably have not seen that do this. Which I wish the isekai genre would go away, but that's beside the point.
Well, yeah, now you have Americans making it.
Moving on. Y'all have anything else on this episode before we jump to the next one?
I'm surprised we didn't spend as much time on the handler bit, but
Well, if you got something else to add to it. I didn't feel there was that much to talk about.
Well, were Lloyd and her communicating telepathically when they were sneaking around?
No, there was hand signs. They showed that earlier in the show.
Yeah.
Okay, because they were talking to each other. I was like, how could they? Like, did they all become Anya for a second? What the heck is going on?
Telepaths.
Well, I will tell you, I don't think it's in the next 2 episodes, but in the ones after that, when we meet another spy working for Wise. I'm not going to talk about that because it's spoilers, but they have the ability to communicate in code whilst talking in normal English. So it gets weird at that point. So
okay. Also, why did it end abruptly?
I think because that's how the short ended in the manga.
Okay. Anyway,
like I said, I swear that the last bits of this were solely to fill out the episode.
It seems like it.
A little bit of filler in there. But
I mean, they did something kind of like this in the previous episode, but at least that felt like 2 separate stories.
Yeah, this I really needed more of it to really give us more of on Sylvia's character, because really I still don't think we know much about her other than she doesn't reveal her age, and we know from the last episode she has a kid, or she had a daughter.
Yeah.
So
apparently she feels the same way about her age that Chun-Li feels about her weight, because Chun-Li's weight has never been canonically revealed, because every time there's a character profile for her, it just says weight secret.
Well, when you're that sensitive,
show that, I will slap you to the moon.
No, Chun-Li kicks because she's got
kick you. That's what I mean. Kick you. Yeah.
She's apparently she apparently loves those thunder thighs, but she's sensitive about those thunder thighs.
Exactly.
Did you call me chubby?
Anyway, Mission 18, Uncle the Private Tutor, and Daybreak.
Daybreak.
First aired on November 5th, 2022. Directed by Ryo Kodama and written by Daishiro Tanimura. And this adapts chapters 26 and 27 of the manga. And this is not the end of the midterm exams arc, because there is one more episode in the midterm exams arc, but admittedly, the arcs here are a little fluid. In this episode, Yuri helps Anya study for her midterm exams. Afterwards, Lloyd breaks into Eden Academy's vaults to change her test answers, but comes across an amateur spy calling himself Daybreak. The worst spy who ever lived.
Ever.
The anime's English sub and English dub translate Anya's misunderstanding of Yuri's speech as "no leash is power," referring to a dog leash. Instead of the mangas, knowledge is the English version of the mangas. Knowledge is a swole chihuahua.
What?
A swole chihuahua?
Because the phrase that Anya misunderstood Yuri saying was "unleash your brain's potential," but in Japanese it came out weird.
Oh, okay.
And she took it as knowledge is a swole chihuahua. That probably should explain more of the actual image we saw on screen. In the anime, when Anya and Yuri are utterly exhausted from studying, Yuri's hair is seen less disheveled than in the manga, where his hair is more tasseled. In the anime, Demetrius's name is introduced much sooner than in the Japanese language edition of the manga, where it's revealed much later after the first mention. I don't remember who Demetrius is, but anyway. Oh, that's Damien's brother. Sorry. And in the manga, Demetrius' exam papers are never shown. However, in the anime, when Twilight fixes the brothers change test scores, one of Demetrius' papers is shown, that being history, the same subject where Damien earned his Stella based on Twilight's reaction to what Demetrius barely got any answer wrong, indicates that the brothers are very good at history. And that's all the trivia I've got.
Huh.
Okay.
So Anya's power does have a weakness.
Yes.
And I don't understand it.
It goes away when the new moon is out.
Yes. Like in Inuyasha.
You would have thought this would have been brought up before now.
I blame this on the fact that I think the manga had a couple of stories he got out and then realized this was going to go longer than the initial joke, and then had a couple of short stories until he got the story going again. And I think that's where this comes up, is these were very quickly written chapters. I really do think that's what happened. And this is just the first time giving her a weakness actually came up.
And I would like to know why it's specifically the new moon. I have questions.
There's lunar reasons that have affected telepathy before.
It's like it's the polar opposite of lycanthropy.
Yeah. Like you turn normal.
So I have seen evidence of this being an actual thing, but I mostly know of it as a theory that the moon's phases do affect the human body because we're like 70% water.
Very true.
And I suspect that's the reasoning why her brain's not as powerful and able to read minds is because during the new moon is because the full moon it's probably stronger in the full moon. I'm guessing.
Yeah.
Okay, what? She can read minds farther away. She has greater range.
She doesn't know because she's 4.
Yeah.
And I do want to remind people that despite the fact she's in a first grade class where everyone else is 6, she is still technically 4 because she lied about her age to Lloyd in the first episode.
Yes.
So yeah, she doesn't really know what's going on. She just knows that when the new moon's out, not that she knows it is the new moon, her powers go away. That's all she knows.
Yeah, she knows like the moon went away, so it's my powers are gone.
And that's the only explanation we currently have as to why, because we've not seen any of the research notes from the original project.
Mm-hmm.
We still don't know anything about the original project that gave her the telepathy in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I have questions. I'm glad that she has a weakness, but I still have questions. Yeah, one of them was, this never came up before? Okay.
Tests never landed on the same part of the month?
I don't know, but I do like the fact that one of her first thoughts was like, oh no, I can't use my mind reading to get the answers on the test. And then she immediately goes to the future seeing dog, just like, tell me
the answers. We're having hamburger steak tonight. Oh yeah, I guess we could do that instead of studying. You could study after she eats.
That is true.
It would probably mean you can't watch that night's episode of Spy Wars, but who cares? She needs to study. She knows she needs to study. Good night. The girl actually knew she had to study this time.
Yeah. But this is a great example of character-based comedy.
Oh, yeah.
In this, where the idea is like, oh, let's get Yuri to tutor her, and he's flipping out because he's I don't like Lloyd. I want my sister out to myself because I'm weird.
Also bear in mind, this is the first time that Anya has met Yuri.
Yeah.
Because she fell asleep before he got there in the other episode, in the first half.
I'm amazed she wasn't just completely traumatized by what's probably going on in his head.
Oh yeah, he's like, I need to go take a nap.
Well, are we talking about all the stuff he's seen as a member of the secret police, or how much in love with his sister she is?
No, because like I
think he was more focused on his sister at that point.
Yeah, I think honestly Anya would.
And she wouldn't understand it either.
No, Anya would probably think that the secret police stuff is so cool.
Yeah, but it also at the same time she thinks it's scary too.
Yeah, might be think it's scary, but she would also probably be a little confused about.
Yeah. A little bit. What's going on? All this stuff.
Like, why does Unky? What does Unky think about Mama?
Yeah. So this is weird.
I do have a question related to Yuri, because in the first time he was showing up and they were trying, and Anya read Lloyd's mind thinking, oh, he's part of the secret police. She says, the secret police? What's that?
Yeah.
So you're telling me in Spy Wars, the anime she's in love with, they haven't had a villain where they go against the secret police yet? Now, granted, this is in Ostania, where the secret police are technically supposed to be propaganda-wise the good guys. Yes. So maybe they're not letting them do that on the show. At the same time, why are you letting a spy thing going on there anyway? Because you don't like spies either, except for your spies. But anyway. I don't know. Maybe I'm reading too much into it. It's like, how do you not know what the secret police are?
Because I think in the last episode she mentioned be like, all I watch is cartoons.
Yeah.
And I'm asking why that hasn't shown up in the cartoon yet.
That's true, because it's all propaganda at that point.
Well, and then the other thing that was funny with this is Anya realizes that she actually has to start getting some of the answers wrong.
Yes.
So that Yuri will stay.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that she can at least so she can keep her secret and keep him around so that she could actually potentially learn things that she could use on the test. It's so funny. And she's like, you keep getting the answers right. So they, oh no. And it just ramps up all the melodrama because everybody in this show is melodramatic because this is a comedy and everything is cranked to 12.
Maybe 12 plus.
I like though at the end of his tutoring, they've fallen on the ground, tired and exhausted. He says something to the effect of, "Now do you understand grammar?" And Anya says, "What's grammar?"
It's like,
that's it. I'm out of here.
I wasted my time. I'm done. And I love their first interactions. It's more, they're like walks in. He's mad that
Lloyd's there.
How dare you? Don't you work on the weekends?
We should be nice because Yuri calls him Lloydie.
Yeah, Lloydie.
Still calls him Lloydie.
Yeah, Lloydie, which is kind of funny
because he thinks that's what Yor calls him.
Oh gosh. And then he gets upset with Anya because she's stealing love away from him for Anya. It's like, dude, obsessive much a little bit. At the same time, it's just like you get Anya's response, and it's like, I don't think he likes me so much. Be like, I don't feel good. I'm gonna walk off.
And let's not forget that Yor did make cookies for them.
Oh,
he did take them, but there was enough that spilled on the floor that Bond
grabbed
apparently was unaware of her cooking ability.
He's got a nose,
and you would think that would have been enough, but no, he did eat the cookie, and
he's laying over.
He did regret that. Poor Bond.
You see him in the last scene, he's just lying on the side. It's like, oh, poor Bond. You hear him whine. It's like, oh, poor Bond.
Poor Bond.
It's like you're
your best boy, but come on, don't do that.
Use your snout. Use that big, lovable, wet snout and smell something. Probably smell the bad out of it. Not surprised with, oh gosh, no. But it was like, ooh, something yummy. Nom nom nom. Bam.
Poor
Bond
and poor Yor.
Yes, poor Yor.
From what I understand, dogs don't actually realize if what they've eaten is bad or not until it gets to their stomach.
Yeah.
It got to his stomach real fast. All right.
Yeah, because dogs primarily they're built on more of their smell, but they'll eat anything in front of them and not even think about it.
Poor Bond.
Yeah, poor Bond.
Yeah, poor Bond. Poor everybody.
Yeah, my gosh.
So yeah, she fails. She barely passes the test, although we don't find that out to the end of this episode.
That is absolutely hysterical.
Oh yeah,
but
because
Lloyd is fairly convinced she failed.
Yeah.
So he's going to break in
really?
to change the grades.
The thing about this one is that it's technically a separate segment, a separate story, but it's so connected to the other one that I feel like you could have still just called this one episode.
Yes.
Yeah, I think the only reason is because it is such separate, and it is at least this one did at least adapt 2 chapters.
Yeah.
Instead of bringing in the short stuff that could go anywhere.
Yeah. So honestly, this half was my favorite of the 2 halves because it really
funnier.
surprised.
It is funny.
It really surprised me because I thought the big joke was going to be Lloyd goes to all that trouble, all the spy shenanigans. He gets in there, and then if then he gets to the scores. It's like, oh, Anya actually scored well.
That would have been funny,
though. That would have been the punchline, but
and they make you think that that's how that's going to go until the very end.
And it's like, she did bad.
But then it decides, oh no, we're going to have a rival.
Barely
we're going to have, but no, the real joke is going to be, oh, there's a rival spy who shows up.
Spy.
And he's Inspector Gadget incompetent.
Yes.
Though kudos for hiding from that one guy by pretending to be a flag.
Oh my gosh.
That was impressive.
And then Lloyd's overthinking. Oh my gosh.
That takes exceptional physical ability to do.
But that was the one thing he actually did right.
Yeah.
Because
I love the fact that
he pulled some parkour
like,
for that.
I love the fact that he's aware of at least the existence of Twilight. So he's like, and I am Daybreak. Because I'm going to be better than Twilight.
Yeah.
Dawn,
like, oh, good night. You poor person. Bless your heart. And Anya just barely passing.
Oh, that was
hysterical. I admittedly don't know how. I'm assuming that's the Japanese grading system that they used on that, even though it's supposed to be taking place in not Germany. But I don't understand how that works because that was not percentage.
I love that the
37 is not passing.
No.
Yeah, well, I love the fact that the joke with. Dang it, is just like, well, it's 100 if you add them all together.
Yes. Oh, my
I've known people who've said that. But she didn't get it to Nitrous Bolt, so good for you, Anya.
So the
which, by the way, I did eventually look up to Nitrous. That just means lightning.
So I think the funniest part of this episode is where Lloyd is inside the vault, and the Daybreak has snuck his way out, and he finally sees the files. It's like, oh, it'd be like he wasn't trying to fix Damien, he was trying to fix it where Damien failed. And it's like, okay, that's an interesting plot point.
Yeah.
But he goes in
I will say that comes up a little in the next episode.
Yes.
Well, here's the insane thing. I recorded an MIFV episode last night, and something that was eerily similar to this episode was brought up during the conversation as something that actually happened. Apparently, there is such a thing as a prestigious preschool in Japan, and a mother bribed somebody $95,000 to alter test scores for her child in a preschool.
Wow. That's not surprising, but
it's not surprising because we've seen some similar things over here. But much older, at much older grades.
Yeah,
at much
like
older
college
grades.
stuff, but never preschool.
Like, if it was like high school, I can understand. No, this was a preschool.
The one I'm thinking of is in college.
Bribe somebody $95,000 to change test scores for a preschool.
It's like
apparently it was
when
a
your
preschool
coloring grade is just not good enough.
Yeah, but apparently it was
mine
a preschool
wouldn't have been at the time.
Yeah, which apparently it was a preschool attached to a university,
of
and
course.
the way culturally, there's just pressure to succeed at every level. So the idea is that you have to get good grades in high school so that you can go to college, and then you get good grades there so you can get a good job. But it's like the pressure is just extremely high at every level of education.
Yeah, the preschooler is losing their crap in more ways than one. They have the best score just to get in the first grade or in the kindergarten.
That reminds me of a joke in the Calvin and Hobbes comic strip. Y'all know what I'm talking about there? I know you do because one of those fell on your foot once.
It landed on my foot.
My collection landed on your foot once.
Yes, that hurt severely.
But do you know what I'm talking about with Calvin and Hobbes, Nathan?
Yeah, I know Calvin and Hobbes, but which one are you talking about?
There's a character in there named Susie Durkins, which is obviously Calvin's love interest, even though they're in first grade or whatever.
Yeah.
And there is one part where they get sent to the principal's office. It's Calvin's fault, but she gets sent to the principal's office with him, and she says, "It's my fault if I can't get into a good college because of you, Calvin." There was a much bigger lead up to that.
Oh my gosh!
She was just so high strung about if I don't do this, if I get to this, it's going to make all these other horrible things happen. It's your fault if my family if I can't get into a good college, Calvin.
Oh my god!
She's very aware of the slippery, not slippery slope. There's a term for it. It's an actual logical fallacy. No, it is slippery slope.
Slippery slope.
Slippery slope.
It's a series of events. That's what it is. The other one I'm thinking of that's similar.
A series of unfortunate events.
Yeah, there you go. But the other one I was thinking of
that's not involved.
Yeah, the other one I was thinking of that's similar but not the same is I can't remember the name of it. It's another logical fallacy where you connect events that are completely unconnected.
Oh,
so it's like, oh, I had bad luck. It must be because I walked under a ladder.
I'm sorry, but no bad luck came from crossing paths with a black cat. It just wanted nibbles.
Yeah.
Sometimes you stare into the void, and sometimes the void stares back at you and asks for kibble.
So you have a black cat named Void.
No, but if I ever have a black cat, I either going to call him Void or I'm going to call him Soot.
I'm learning very interesting things about Drew today.
Yes.
Hey, I got the idea of Soot from watching Hayao Miyazaki films. So
that makes sense.
So I was thinking the Soot sprite, but that's too long a name. So Soot.
No. I don't mind. I don't mind Soot. That's just like.
I'm on the internet too much.
Yeah.
I was quoting a meme, by the way.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. So it'll be like this particular point where Lloyd is looking at the records, and he finds something like that someone is trying to destroy Damien's chance of getting him expelled from the school, and he sees that he fixes Damien's scores, but he looks at his own daughters and doesn't do anything with it. It's like, oh, she scored well enough. Be like, he could have made her like she. I kept saying she got number one because Lloyd just racked her scores up.
I suspect he would not have done it so far up to get a Stella because that would not have been logical and that would have been obvious that they were messed with. I suspect she already scored better than he was going to mark it up to. And that's why he didn't change it.
That makes sense. But it just might be like, your daughter barely passed and you did nothing to fix anything. But, I thought it was just funny. It was like, oh my gosh, he's going to fix Damien's to where he's not going to fail. But he doesn't fix his own daughters.
He's not fixing Damien so he doesn't fail. He's fixing what Daybreak changed.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Be like he corrects what happened. Or at least he thinks
because it's going to cause him more problems in the future if he doesn't fix what Daybreak does.
Exactly.
Now, and like I said, this is going to come up in the next episode. I will say that there is a character who showed up in the background of some of these scenes, I think in this episode, who was not originally there in the manga, but is a character in the next chapter.
Okay.
The next episode.
Cool.
So that is connected to this whole story. So just throwing that out there. It's also one of the weirder episodes of the show.
One of the weirdest?
I said one of the weirder.
A weirder. Okay.
I still don't know why half the stuff in that episode occurs, but that's beside the point.
It's Spy Family.
Anything else before we finish up here?
Not really. Other than to say that I think my favorite segment out of both of these episodes was the Daybreak.
Oh, yes.
I will grant you that is the funniest moment in these two episodes.
That was gold.
So, Nathan, shameless self-promotion.
Stealing all my shticks. Well, I did it.
I kind of have to do it at least when you're here.
Yeah, you do.
I have to say it your way. So
I mean, you've already stolen a couple of my shticks, but.
Hey, I asked permission for the ones I was using continuously.
I know. I just give you a hard time.
And I promote you technically every time it plays.
I know you do. You do. At this point, at this point, we're almost the same podcast. It's just kind of funny how that works out.
Yes and no. Yes.
Yes and no. But anyway, we've already promoted the Henshin Power V3, but also do check out the Monster Island Film Vault, the podcast seeking entertainment and enlightenment through tokusatsu. I take an entertainingly academic approach to all things kaiju. I do far more research than most people should on these things, and to put them into their proper context. Currently, my season theme is the Monster Island World Tour, in which I will be covering kaiju movies made anywhere but America and Japan. And the latest one I've done for that is a little Thai film called The Lake.
I'm almost finished listening to that episode.
Yeah, and I'm glad I went with that one and not the other option that I was considering, because when I first put the schedule together, there was only one kaiju movie from Thailand. It's called Garuda. It's Rantmaster worthy. Yeah, it's not good, but yeah. So that's it. The next one will be, we'll finally get to the European leg of the world tour. It will be Troll Hunter from Norway. I will confess I'm a little behind on production of those episodes, but hey, I had 2 cons in 1 month.
It's fair, dude.
I'm doing 100 other things, but I'm planning on getting it caught up, especially since I have episode 100 coming up soon.
I love how you finished that and your virtual background disappeared again.
It died.
Just at the end of it.
I don't know why Restream just hates my virtual backgrounds. But actually, I'm gonna say this right now. If you gentlemen are interested, I am planning on inviting past guests to record little 10-second cameos for episode 100, and I will be doing a 5th anniversary live stream for the podcast next month. And if you guys would like to record some feedback or write in to Monster Island Film Vault at gmail.com. Feel free to do that, and I will share that on the live stream. So, just talking about, what the show means to you, basically.
Right.
So, let me know if you'd be interested in either one of those things. In universe, for it, you will be invited to the island because, spoiler warning, Jimmy from NASA is getting married in episode 100, and all of the past guests to the podcast are on the guest list, even if they don't make a cameo.
Fun.
Sweet.
So that's some of the stuff that's going on with that. Also check out, go look up, it's on all the socials, all the podcatchers, things like that. Also check out the audio drama segments that have gotten pretty popular with my most hardcore listeners here. I'm still amazed that I let that balloon into what it is. And so in past episodes, when you've heard us talking about Jacob's unfortunate encounter with a Korean ghost girl.
Oh, gosh,
that was funny.
That was so good. That was so good.
That's where it came from, because I had them on.
Technically, is my first official writing credit on anything. So,
well, yeah, because you tweaked the stuff enough that I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to give him a co-writer
all I did was
credit.
like, oh, this is how we actually talk.
Yes.
Yeah, I tried I sent you a first draft and you recorded the first draft.
I was so worried about. I need to get this to him as soon as possible. I don't know how. At the time, I wasn't sure how our schedules were looking because wedding prep.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I sent it to you to get feedback, and then I was going to revise it to make tweaks here and there to make it sound
I
more like you guys. Yeah, which is fine. You took care. It came out fine. Because I'm trying to remember what did I have? Oh, I had you guys on for Monster Wars from
Monster Wars
series. And then the story segment I said is that just for fun, we went to go visit an abandoned South Korean theme park that is purported to be haunted.
And there was a ghost girl and
it was a little ghost girl.
Not Tanuki.
Not a Tanuki. No, not a Tanuki.
Nine-tailed fox.
A nine-tailed fox. Because I found out that Korea has Legends of Nine-Tailed Fox too.
Yeah.
So the big joke was Jacob had a barking spell, and she thought she's lonely. She's a lonely little ghost girl, and she wants a puppy, and thought Jacob was the puppy. And then we managed to find her a real puppy, and they became instant friends.
A ghost fox puppy.
A ghost fox.
Kit.
Yeah.
A
Kit. There we go.
The kitsune. Yeah. So
they're
happy.
kitsune, but I mean the actual term for a baby fox is kit. Anyway.
Yeah. So they're happy now. That's what matters. They're happy now. So anyway, so do give that a check those out, and then obviously my author website, nathanjsmarchand.com, if you want to keep up with all of my writerly things. If whenever I post new stories or videos, or because I do have a YouTube channel for myself, and I just did a live stream talking about Gen Con because I went to Gen Con a couple weeks ago. Sold a lot of books in their vendor hall, and it was very good. I was a little discouraged going into it that it wasn't going to be very good, and it was a very good year at Gen Con. Selling my books, and I've got potentially 3, maybe even 4 new books that could be in print in the next year. A lot of it's old stuff that I'm getting either republished or published for the first time, because I'm going to do a second short story collection. And one thing on the docket that would be a bucket list item for me in the next year, comic book.
Nice.
I just got to learn how to write a comic book because I've never written one before.
I can't help you with that.
I know you can't. But this guy over here, this guy right here, I don't know. I might make a stretch
He
goal.
is
I might
writing a web.
I'm actually working on a webcomic right now.
I started that. I don't know if he's actually announced ever that.
No,
all I was gonna say is just like, because I've been enjoying all the progress on your thumbnail art for this, and I'm thinking I might have to use you for some projects. So who knows? You might get an opportunity to do like a variant cover stretch goal for my comic book.
There you go.
Or I might recruit you to do some cover art for my story segments next season.
Hey,
because it's going to be Ultraman themed, and I liked your Ultraman work.
Thank
for
you.
This
I
thumbnail.
appreciate it. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I will definitely be like, you want me to do some art? I will definitely do it.
I'm still waiting on the commission. I didn't ask you to do that. You're just like, I'm going to make him something. Okay. Well, I still don't know how much you want for it, but all right.
Well, me and my wife were walking through it, and it's just like this and this and this, because I haven't got all my pricing right, and it's just more like be like this and this and this, and it depends on who you work with and that kind of stuff.
Yeah. So don't. I was just saying, don't get too far into it. Don't get too far into it until you figure out how much.
Believe me, that's the furthest I've gotten into is doing that sketch.
Okay. I just don't want you to get too far into it.
I wanted to get something out. It's like, okay, I have this thought in my head. Let me put it down on paper and then send it to Nate and see what he thinks.
Yeah. Okay.
That's what I like to do as an artist. Be like, just get something out there.
Yeah. For sure. So, like I said, I'm just glad that I'm adding more artist context to my list, so that way when I have a project where I'm like, I should talk to so and so, that way I can contact you, my brother, my friend Rebecca, who did the HPV3 logo, the most epic logo in Tokusatsu podcasting. I don't care what anyone says. So yeah, all that to say, that's all my shameless self-promotion this time around.
Yes, and Jacob got some shameless self-promotion in there too, without meaning to.
Yes.
For those of you who don't know, Jacob is a very good artist, and he needs money. Like we all do.
Yeah, we all do. I agree. And
he can do commissions.
Hey, if anyone has some freelance writing or editing projects that they need help with, call me.
There we go.
I've been trying to do that. I actually just did a book editing project for somebody today.
Nice. So Drew did drop. He said something. I have been working on a webcomic for about 20 plus years, and there again, I'm not a writer. I'm an artist. So I'm sitting there, be like, because I draw everything I want to write out, so I draw it. So it makes it for a longer process. Believe me, I have a binder that's this thick, full of just, ideas, like all over the place. I guarantee you have the exact same thing what you do, Nate. Mm-hmm. So I've been working on this.
Except I don't draw. But.
Yeah, you know what I mean. Be like, binders full of just paper.
I will die with a gazillion ideas still in my head.
Oh yeah.
Meanwhile, I'm dragging my feet on every other creative endeavor besides this podcast I've ever started.
So yeah, I have been working on this, and I'm hoping to get it out. Maybe, hopefully, start it as a webcomic by the end of this year. Hopefully, get something out there, because I've been working on this for 20 years, and just to get it out there, and be like, hey, actually, look at it, see it.
And actually, I don't have to keep this secret. I don't have to play coy with this, because I have gone on the air and said this, and I can say this since I'm not in kayfabe. The comic book that I'm hoping to do, it'll be a one-shot just to kind of get my feet wet. I have an idea for what would be a longer series, but I want to do at least a one-shot to kind of figure out what I'm doing. It will actually be a comic starring MIFE's resident magical girl, Crystal Lady.
Crystal Lady.
Huh.
And your pseudo-sister, or your character
/ pseudo-sister, yeah. Yes, MIFE Nate's pseudo-sister. If you want to know why that is, listen to the show. It will make sense.
Let's just say that first Mothra Rebirth episode is gold at the end of it.
Rebirth of Mothra 3.
Rebirth, I thought, it's the third one, sorry.
Yeah, there's some stuff leading up to it.
You gotta listen to all 3 episodes.
Yes.
But
to get the full context.
And unfortunately, this was before you got the good actress for her.
My sister?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it was supposed to be a one-off joke. It was supposed to be a one-off joke, and it's still a one-off joke. But then when I decided to bring the character back, I'm not doing that again. Yeah. And I have my real sister.
He
play
plays
my
his
pseudo
sister in that episode.
And all of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. He pulled a Marty McFly.
The fact that I talked my real sister, into playing a superheroine on my podcast, I consider one of my greatest achievements as a podcaster. Because she would not normally be into such nerdy things, but but I talked her into doing it because she likes acting, she likes performing, and she likes the character. She did grow to love. She did grow to love the character. Sometimes she still gets a little annoyed with me, where I'm like, I need you to go bigger, a little cheesier. And she's like, ah.
It's Magical Girl. It's supposed to be cheesy.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. But she does it. She indulges me.
So, in the same way, but like my wife Ashley. Oh my gosh! So when Drew sent me the congratulations from all you guys from the hiatus, which was great.
Which I'm probably going to put that audio file at the end of this episode.
Yes,
I meant to do it. I actually meant to do it at the end of the ice giant, Arctic giant, whatever the name of that that episode is. But
it's Arctic Giant.
Yeah, we'll go with that. I agree. It's Arctic Giant, but my mind is like Ice, Frost, Elsa. I don't know.
I mean, I remembered it wrong for a while too.
Oh my gosh!
I meant to put it at the end of that one, but I'll probably put it at the end of this one.
So we did a reaction to it. Because we both listened to it, and it's like she was like it's like, oh, that's very sweet. Like people she's never met except for Drew and our friend Aaron. Everybody else she's never met. He was at
the wedding.
Yeah,
so.
He was at the wedding. It was very sweet. But we did a reaction and she said hi, and I did most of the talking. As probably you heard. And I was like, wait a minute, we gotta do something for Nate. It's like the frog. Yeah. There we go.
Yes, the frog bit. The frog bit.
Because I mentioned I had thought about including it in the best man speech.
Yes,
I thought about it, and I thought, no, she will kill me.
So yeah, Nate, it works.
I know, I heard it, and you say, and my reaction was yes.
I may have to go and edit something out of that episode, out of that Power Rangers episode, so I can at least provide context. If you don't mind me using some of your show.
No, it's okay.
Oh my gosh!
Anyway,
it's okay. Yes,
we need to end it.
Yes,
yeah.
We're hitting that point we were trying to avoid in terms of time. Thank y'all once again for listening to the show. Join us next week for Mad Balls. Thank you, Bobo.
Thank you, Bobo.
In the meantime, this has been Drew.
This is Jacob.
And that's Nate.
Apparently can't talk.
I'm waiting for the credits.
And we'll catch you in the next frame.
Oh, okay. I was waiting for the credits. I'm sorry. Hi, I'm Nate. Goodbye.
You can follow Jacob on his Facebook at Jacob B. Heron. His Facebook page, Jacob's Daily Art Corner, where he tries to draw each and every day. His Instagram at Jacob B. Heron. His Twitter at Jacob Heron. And his Letterboxd at Jacob Heron. You can find Drew on Facebook at Drew Dodgen. His Facebook page, Drew's Photo Bin, to see his photography. His Letterboxd page at GGeorge759. His Twitter at GGeorge759. And Instagram at Drew Dodgen. You can like us on Facebook at the Cellcast Podcast, on Twitch at the Cellcast Gaming, on YouTube at Cellcast, on Twitter at cast_cell. The Cellcast can be found at Apple Podcasts, Google Play Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, or anywhere else fine podcasts are downloaded from. Please rate and review us where you found us, and also on Podchaser. Email us at thecellcastpodcast@gmail.com. The Cellcast is a proud member of both the Pop Americana and Culture Box media networks. For more information, please see the link in the description. Our theme song is Drop and Roll by Silent Partner. And remember, that's Cell with a single L.
Wait, what am I coming back for again?
In Search of Titanic.
Cashew tentacles!
Oh, big kaiju! Oh my god, she's so cool!
She's so scaly, I'm gonna die!
Hey guys, this is Jacob.
And Ashley.
Hey, we are currently in Austin? No, we're in San Antonio, Texas for our honeymoon, and we just want to say a huge shout out and thank you to all the guys over at wow, I'm forgetting podcast names. This is terrible. To everybody, to Francisco, thanks Roy, and PaulJPowers.com, Andy and Kirk from the Rushmore Show, Aaron Lowe. Thank you so much, man. You're awesome. And Dallas and Celeste from Geek Devotions. Thank you so much for all your kind words and your special encouragements. And thank you so much. They're very touching. Me and Ashley just listened to it, and thank you so much for your kind words. It is just a blessing and honor to get to have people who have come on to our show, me and Drew's show, and have filled in while me and Ashley are enjoying our honeymoon in San Antonio. So I do have one special thing for certain Nathan Marchand from the Munster Island Film Vault, and that's this. Ashley, but I'm a frog. She kissed me on the cheek. It works! Thanks, Nate. Thanks, guys. Thanks. Bye.
Thank you.